mind to a limit where it needs to feed. I work blind, got vision I don't need to see. I'm picking mind over matter, I believe in me. I need to find more hours in the day to breathe. Need to find more power in the way I be. And when my mind turns sour with the painful scenes, I need to scream out loud, I can't stop me. I wanna be the greatest like Rocky. You know I leave them all hates like a hobby. I'm out here making moves like a lobby. And if you ain't with me, it's your loss, see. I got my mind on the facts, I'm a python, grab what I like real fast. Choke until I have everything I attack, everything that I lack, everything that I want, and I see, matter of fact.
Cause I'm my own worst enemy. Only if I let it be. I can control anything if I can just think carefully. I control my destiny. Deep up in my mind I manifest it. Every morning I wake up obsessed, and everything I do the best. And deep within my mind, you know I'll always manifest it.
Hello and welcome to my Mind Over Your Matter. My name is Rick. Let's turn the cameras on. Just lighting up all these candles was driving me a little late today because I have a lot of candles I turn on during the show, and I hope you guys appreciate it because I love the glow. I love the warmth of the candles. Visuals is super appealing, especially when I turn off the lights. It all glows. Probably do that later on tonight. We'll dim the lights down. We'll just turn off the lights and just absorb the energy from the beautiful flames in front of me. And welcome. It's Thursday, right? October. Listen to me. January. Why my mind is October? Maybe something's supposed to happen in October. I don't know why my mind went to October. That's crazy. It's January 29th, 2026. One day to go for Ascended Heroes Pokemon release that's going to be happening tomorrow. I'm super excited. I actually have a plan and what I'm going to do. First, I'm going to stop at Walmart to see what they got and what they have for release for tomorrow. And then from there, I will be going to Target, which opens at 8 in the morning. You see, Walmart opens at 6 in the morning. So I go to Walmart first. And then gonna check out Target, see what they got as far as release. And then I'm going to go to Lowe's, which is a home improvement store for Pokemon. You say Lowe's? Yep. Lowe's sells Pokemon. and I'm gonna check out to see if they got anything new for tomorrow, and also the dreaded place that I don't despise, but I think is a ripoff. GameStop. I am a member of GameStop. That's the crazy shit. I am a member, and I've been a member since 2014. So every month I get like $5 off towards any purchase inside GameStop, which is pretty cool because every month I can just go in and buy something and get $5 off. So that's something to look forward to every month. I did renew my membership today because it's every year that they renew it, and this is the time it gets renewed. So it got renewed, and I'm looking forward to see what GameStar gets. I mean, I saw some UPCs there, but I'm not going to pay $185 with tax. It'll come out to close to like $200 for UPC. They had two of them there. I have two of them here, so I don't know if I'm gonna bite on that. I'm gonna press my luck with hoping to find them in the wild, like at Target, because Target the other day had 10 UPCs, and literally when I took a picture of it, I didn't buy it because I was like, I already have two, but man, I should have gotten it because I was like kicking myself in the butt for not getting it, but it's okay. But there was like 10 of them, and I took a beautiful picture of it. And then the next day I went back and they were all gone. It was all gone. I was like, oh my God. The people, when they find out that they grab, because you can only purchase two items, trading cards from Target. So you only could get two. If you're gonna get a UPC, then you can only get two. Or if you're gonna buy a booster pack, you only could get two booster packs. But if you're gonna buy one UPC and you can only get one other item, you can't get two of the same item of multiple different items. They only allow you to get two, which is pretty crazy, but then in a sense is pretty fair for those who um, don't get like scalped, because there's a lot of scalpers out there that are trying to buy everything and all at once. At least it stops that from happening, unless they go with like a whole bunch of their friends, and then that's like a super scalper. The super scalpers is the one that goes and then he has like maybe 15, 20 his buddies come along with him and then wait in line, and then they buy each like two of the sets, and then we're shit out of luck. I know my local GameStop said that they were gonna have of the 30th anniversary of the Pokemon edition. They were gonna have 50 boxes of that celebration for the 30th anniversary, which comes with two Phantasmal Flames and one Mega Evolutions, I believe. It comes with a promo card, a pin, and a couple of stickers, and I think a coin or something. I'm not 100% sure on the coin, but I might go in. I might go in on that. I'll probably get maybe two of them. One for like a display. I'll probably display somewhere, and the other one, I don't know. I tend to save those type of boxes because I got a couple of. Oh, I saw this one, the Mega. This is Genghis Khan. I got this one at Walmart for $25, which is back here. This one over here, you can see is like bluish. I saw it at GameStop today for 40. I was like, what? $40? I was like, damn. It was $39.99. And if I have my $5 off, it'll be $34.99. It's $10 more at GameStop than it is, pressing your luck and finding it in the wild, like I say, at Walmart or Target. You do get them cheaper at Walmart and Target, but sometimes it's like you got to be lucky. You got to be like luck of the draw that you get there, and then they do have, and then you're like, yes, and then you purchase it, and you're like, damn, I need to get back and get some more. So you go back like an hour later, and then you buy some more. And Walmart, they let you buy up to um, five of the booster packs, and then one of, but it has to be of total of five Pokemon. It could be booster packs or it could be any other product, but it's the limit five at Walmart. Target is two, and I believe, I'm not sure for GameStop, but that's the Pokemon news. And I put up 3 videos today actually for you guys to watch. So it's been getting a lot of views on it, and I'm happy for that. I just wish people would subscribe more so they could watch more of that Pokemon, because I am going to be opening a pack every day. Today was just a special occasion because I'm celebrating for tomorrow, the 30th, which is the release date for the Sunday Heroes. I'm hoping to see if I could get a couple of packs of the Thunder Heroes. It's not guaranteed, but if I could find it, I'm going to get it. And trust me, I will be at Walmart early in the morning. I will get my butt there at about 6:50 to about 7 in the morning. I'll be there early. I'm an early bird. I wake up early. Yep, I do. Okay, guys, let's go straight to the news because we don't want to hear everything about me. It's not all about me. It's about the news, too. Okay, let's get to the news. Oh, liberal hive mind.
Folks, so I guess what else can I say other than it's happening?
FBI agents are on site at a Fulton County election office in Georgia, where they are conducting a search.
This is a satellite office for the Fulton County Elections Office. The FBI
Atlanta
press office confirming this, not giving many details, saying that the FBI is executing a court-authorized law enforcement action. No other details at this time, but we do know via sources a judge signed off on this warrant, allowing these agents, as you see them, enter this building to take items from the inside. Now, we're told that this is a sealed matter before the court, meaning details are now limited. Now, agents are looking at documents, phones, computers. We are told via multiple sources this is related to the 2020 presidential election. Now, we don't know specifically what agents are taking to the FBI lab, items that may eventually become part of a federal case. It's important to point out, Sandra, that a judge typically would not just sign off on a warrant so the FBI could go on what's known as a fishing expedition. It's likely the FBI and DOJ presented some credible evidence to the judge for the judge to go ahead and give the green light.
And according to the report that I'm reading, quote, it's likely the FBI and DOJ have presented credible evidence of fraud to a judge. Yeah, obviously, a search warrant like this, an FBI raid, isn't coming out of nowhere. Well, that is now that Merrick Garland's not in charge of the frickin' DOJ. And I gotta tell you, it's high time. It's certainly late, but better late than never. The American people deserve answers. But of course, if you follow leftist accounts on social media, if you listen to the rhetoric coming from them, it's yet again another prime example of Trumpian fascism, right? Everything the left doesn't like is fascism as per usual. That seems to be the claim here. But I'm not exactly sure how a court-authorized warrant could now be spun as fascism. Yeah, obviously, this isn't Donald Trump weaponizing the Fed against Democrats, but rather it's FBI Director Kash Patel following legal leads on potential irregularities. And you know what? The 2020 election was nothing but red flags and irregularities. And for years, they wanted you to shut up and not ask questions. Don't engage in the big lie. Ooh, spooky, the big lie. Are you a radical right-wing white supremacist engaging in the big lie? Well, there goes your frickin' Twitter account. Yeah, obviously, that was never an acceptable standard. Or you could even argue lack of standard. You know, following the 2020 election, with multiple states going to Joe Biden by razor-thin margins, and then all the extenuating circumstances, let's say, the most radical thing that happened there wasn't the claims that something might have been a mess. Now, the most radical perspective is that the American people, in this case 50% of the population, didn't deserve answers. That was always the biggest slap in the face, the biggest insult. I mean, there are so many unresolved 2020 election claims, and many of them stem from Fulton Fulton County. You know, like videos of poll workers pulling suitcases of ballots after observers left, an alleged Maine water break that was used as an excuse to clear the rooms, then the magic spike of Biden votes, giving him the exact margin that he needed in the most competitive states. Well, it's time to finally know exactly what happened. And it appears the FBI is doing exactly that. And very simply, I don't think it's a crazy standard. I don't think this is fascism. No, voters, left or right, deserve straight answers on whether or not protocols were followed. You know, we got claims in Georgia that over 300,000 ballots were illegitimate, yet they were processed anyways. Don't you think when you've got poll workers acting as whistleblowers, when you've got so many data scientists saying, yeah, this makes absolutely no sense what happened here, when you had pretty much all the election bellwethers pointing in the direction of a Trump win, and then Joe Biden, a freaking skeleton of a man who didn't even campaign, who didn't even exist, he was in the basement the entire time, all of a sudden he wins, and not only wins, but wins in the most spectacular fashion imaginable, with the most votes of any presidential candidate ever, when you've got all these videos of people engaging in ballot harvesting and showing up at ballot drop boxes in the middle of the night, dumping what appears to be clusters of ballots. Don't you think that the American people deserve to know exactly what happened? Well, I think, again, it should be bipartisan. Absolutely, the American people deserve answers. And for so long, the left has said, well, we got all the answers. Fact check false. Fact check false. Look at all the court cases. The audits were done. Give me a break. There were never real audits. We can't even get basic transparency from Democrats when it comes to voter registration and voter rolls. They're hiding the data from the feds. Even now, as it appears, Oregon's now being forced to purge over 800,000 ineligible voters from the rolls. We've got data suggesting people are voting in multiple states. We've got Democrats giving illegal immigrants driver's licenses and having a system that automatically registers them to vote. Those court cases were simply tossing these cases and claiming they had no merit. But when was a true full election audit done, looking to make sure that signatures matched, guaranteeing chain of custody? It never happened. And frankly, it probably would have been impossible, or it would have taken likely billions of dollars just to get the job done, because the election was, of course, not secure. Democrats worked their butts off legally, and in some cases, illegitimately, illegally, unconstitutionally, relative to, of course, state constitutions, to change election laws before the election, to change the way elections work and allow these mass mail-in ballots to be sent out to everybody. Hundreds of thousands of mail-in ballots per big swing state. And so how do you even audit that? You then have to have every single mail-in ballot, track them one by one to ensure that the person who supposedly casted that ballot actually legitimately did. And that right there, folks, is a lot of on-the-ground work. Yeah, that never happened. A totally untrustworthy system. And really, that's been the demand since day one, not necessarily to overturn the election just based on what partisan Republicans are saying, though, to actually get the truth, to answer those questions. Did Joe Biden actually win the 2020 election? Well, I don't think anybody could actually answer that. Well, I know all these mainstream media characters,
I say no.
Make that declarative, definitive statement. No, Joe Biden won.
I know he did it. I know they cheated.
But if you're an actual honest human being, you cannot say that for certain. You cannot make that claim absolutely. And I sit here asking myself, why? Why is that the case? Don't you think, the issue of American democracy is an issue so sacred that it should have, some guarantee of legitimacy? Why is that such a controversial topic to all these left-wingers and mainstream media pundits?
They're cheaters.
You're supposed to assume that everything was done by the books, that all the mass mail-in ballots were totally legitimate and there was no issue of mass illegal voter harvesting. That's an unacceptable standard. Elections should be secure. They should be guaranteed. Democrats are fighting tooth and nail against that. And, likely still to this day, Senator John Thune just confirmed that he's actually going to be moving forward with the SAVE Act.
Repeatedly urged the passing the SAVE Act, as well as many ag Republicans. What is the holdup in the Senate? Why hasn't that been brought to the floor for a vote? And what's your stance on requiring improvement of citizenship and vote elections?
Well, I'm for that. I've co-sponsored the SAVE Act in the past. I think my understanding is that they are still modifying the bill. It includes right now a requirement that you be a citizen to register to vote, but it doesn't include a requirement that to vote you be a resident. So in other words, if you're going to have what we call voter ID or photo ID when somebody goes into the ballot box to vote, that's not currently covered in the bill. So that's being fixed and addressed, and I think the new bill that comes out hopefully will deal with that. But I mean, at some point we'll have that vote. I'm for it. I think most of our colleagues in the Senate are, and I don't, it hasn't had consideration in the relevant committee yet, but I know there's a high level of interest among our members in getting a vote on the SAVE Act.
These are much needed election election reforms that need to be passed, federally mandating voter ID, doing away with this mass mail-in ballot stuff. These are important things to make sure that elections are secure and safe, but the Democrats are going to fight tooth and nail against that. They're going to claim voter suppression. You just don't want black people and whammons to vote in elections. It's an absolutely idiotic response, an idiotic standard, but probably more accurately, I think it's an unacceptable standard. It's wrong. It's incorrect. And it's also the exact opposite. It's counter to how the rest of the Western world, the rest of the democratic world operates. Every other country has these basic election integrity measures passed by law, but the Democrats don't want that for America. Well, what does that tell you? Well, I guess we might get answers here. Let's see where the FBI raid leads to. Let's see if everything is happening above board in corrupt Fulton County, one of the shittiest places on planet Earth. I'd unironically rather be in a third world nation than ever go back to Atlanta. Just had to get that jab in, but let's see what they're up to in Fulton County. Atlanta. Let's see if it's all above board. And then, of course, let's see where the facts lead and have that conversation. You know, everything the Democrats are seemingly allergic to. I guess we'll see. But one thing's for sure, this is not fascism. No, this is what the American people deserve. The American people deserve transparency. They deserve to understand what's going on in their democratic systems, to have faith and trust that the process is legitimate. This is going to be real interesting. Anyways, that's what I got for you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
All right, let's keep it moving.
To Action News exclusive. We are taking you inside the local warehouse. The FBI raided to seize ballots from the 2020 Georgia election.
Channel 2 investigative reporter Mark Winnie learned agents seized more than 600 boxes of records.
Fulton County Superior Court Clerk Shay Alexander says Wednesday she spent hours in this warehouse with the FBI, and for the first time, she's willing to talk publicly about exactly how much they seized and other details.
I had to unlock the cage so they could retrieve the boxes, and when it was done, I locked the cage back.
This entire cage is full of Fulton County election records.
That's it.
And this is where the FBI was on.
Yes, sir.
What did the FBI take?
They took pallets. They took 24 pallets, which encompasses of 2020 election documents.
All from November
2020.
Shay Alexander says,
and they had a warrant signed by a federal judge to get it.
And at the vast expanse of warehouse where millions of pages of records are boxed, stacked, and organized. What kind of records do you maintain?
Superior Court's criminal, real estate documents. The deed book from September 1887. Military discharges, all things related to Superior Magistrate Court in the county of Fulton.
She had a new role Wednesday, giving FBI agents access to hundreds of boxes agents sought with a federal search warrant. All of this and more are your records as the elected Superior Court Clerk of Fulton County.
Yes.
But Wednesday, the FBI was focused on this cage right here.
Only. Just this cage. There was a fifth that...
Yeah, because it's the 2020 election.
Pallets on the top to
retrieve
retrieve the documents.
fraud that
they
happened.
looked at every pallet.
They have an FBI agent that could run a forklift.
Yes.
Ms. Alexander says keeping boxes of Fulton County election records under lock and key is part of her job.
Once the election is over, the election director, they package all of the boxes up, they shrink rack them, and I store the boxes.
The clerk says Wednesday
Girl, you know
was
you did
about
not
work.
store those
As an
boxes.
elected official, as the clerk, I'm a neutral party.
You know she did not store
The
anything.
search warrant came in, I provided them the information from the political aspect of what happened and why it happened and was it right or wrong. It's not my job. My job was to provide the information to them.
You know, she's
and
happy
give
to
them the
give that
boxes. I did
information.
my
She's
job
like,
on
fuck
Wednesday.
yes,
It's
finally,
about the citizens of
we're
Fulton
going to
County.
get Fannie
It's about
Willis.
preserving the documents that I am charged to do. I provided the information and the documents to the federal government.
Yeah, she
like
did her
I was
job.
supposed to do, and it was
Yep.
another day on the job.
Did they say whether they're going to bring the boxes back at some point?
They did not say that. The boxes should have been shredded in 2022 based on the retention schedule, but they were held under seal because of
Ooh,
the
they
pending
were supposed to be
litigation.
shredded.
Litigation at that time.
There's still litigation.
But the FBI was here for a criminal investigation.
That's correct.
Clerk Alexander says this is the receipt she signed for the FBI memorializing the volume of what they took. In Union City, this is Mark Winnie, Channel 2 Action News.
Finally, we're going to get some accountability. Some kind of accountability, please. Jesus. Let's go to Melody King.
So we've got some urgent news right now because the government, if you don't know yet, may be shutting down by tomorrow.
Hopefully we won't have a shutdown. And we're working on that right now. I think we're getting close. The Democrats, I don't believe, want to see it either. So we'll work in a very bipartisan way. I believe not to have a shutdown. We don't want to shut down.
Can't believe I'm saying this, but we could be headed toward a partial government shutdown tomorrow.
Again?
I'm just leaving the White House, and
Are you
there are
kidding me?
signs that there is some progress. Senate Democrats have really been trying to take a stand to protest the Department of Homeland
That's why
Security
they
after the
scheduled the
shooting
protest
and killing of
tomorrow.
Renee Good and Alex Preddy
Because they
down in
wanted-
Minneapolis. So they
Oh,
said they
man,
will
this
not
is
agree
all
to fund the
set up.
government unless there are
This is
changes
bullshit.
to ICE, including ending roving patrols, making them wear body cameras, and remove face masks. Ooh, sorry, y'all. It's negative 3
Yeah, but they
degrees
don't
out
wanna
here.
pay
So
for
the
it.
good news is that both sides are talking. Democrats in the White House are now considering a measure that would give them more time to talk about those policy changes. But if the government does in fact shut down, we could see TSA agents go unpaid. We could see air traffic controllers go unpaid. We could see military
Again?
troops go unpaid.
Oh, this
Does
is
all of this sound
bullshit,
familiar?
man.
Now I want to play this video because this is going to help
This is
break it down
bullshit. They
better
keep
so you
doing
can
this.
understand it. But
Democrats,
did you hear
man.
that? Because of what happened to Renee Good and Alex Preddy. I told you they were psyops. I've played the video with the 33s all over. It looks like AI, heads missing. The media are doctoring videos, doing AI. His collar on the original photo is blending blue into his skin. Like, I just don't think any of it's real. It's even him being able to kick that car the way he did. I don't know. Something about it is just they're playing it, but we see they wanted to use these protests. They wanted to use these two deaths as a way to help shut down the government.
Yep.
Is that not wild? That they just magically
They
came
keep
up
doing
with
it too, and they're
two
successful
things
at
at
it.
the last minute so that this shutdown could happen again. Hopefully they work it out, but I don't know, guys. I don't know how they find any middle ground. I know Trump said that he was going to Tom Homan said that he was going to reduce the number there. I'll play that in a second, but take a listen to this.
Only one more day until the government potentially shuts down. Here's what happened yesterday and here's what's happening today. This is not an endorsement of either political party. This is just what's going on. The following departments are still at risk for being shut down tomorrow. Department of Defense, Homeland Security, Financial Services to include the IRS, Labor, Human and Health Services, Education, Department of Transportation, Housing, Urban Development. So if you work for any of those, this is important for you. Yesterday, Democrats released a list of legislative changes they want made to the Homeland Security part of the bill. The White House rejected those demands, stating that it's too late to ask for last-second changes in this bill because we're about to shut down. Democrats are still pushing to remove Homeland Security completely from that bill, but that would take House approval, and they don't come back to work until next week. Some Republicans have flirted with the idea of passing everything in the bill except for Homeland Security and then attaching a short-term continuing resolution for the Homeland Security side to keep everything running and to avoid a shutdown tomorrow night. At 11:30 a.m. Eastern, the Senate will hold a vote to invoke cloture. That means they will vote on whether or not they should vote to pass the bill and fund the government. They need 60 yeses or yays to invoke cloture. And that's where the big point of contention is right now. Democrats have stated they're not budging on the Homeland Security stuff, and there's 53 Republicans in the Senate. So even if they all said yes, they still need 7 Democrats to change their minds and vote yes. So hang on tight, everyone. I will update you when I can. Follow me, Silly Goose.
Now, you probably know that Greg Bovino, who was the head of ICE, recently stepped down, resigned, or was fired, whatever. You never know what was really happening behind behind all that. But understand that the coordination of this, right? So all of this happens in Minneapolis. 2 people are allegedly dead, okay? I've done the research. I just don't believe they're real. I've seen ghost profiles before. I just don't. I know. Listen, I'm sorry. George Floyd none of it was real. Do you know how many psyops there are? But anyway, so those happen. Then, okay, they have all the protesters. They've been doing it every city, but now 2 people died. So we got to step it up. So then Greg Bovino is no longer in charge. Now Tom Homan is going to come in and take charge. And while he said a lot of different things, this is the thing that everyone is talking about, because he's now saying reducing the number of ICE agents in Minnesota. But he's taking over. Are you seeing this? And now suddenly the Democrats want to shut down the government because of these 2 deaths. And unless you make some changes or do this, that, and the other, we are not going to allow this bill to pass. We will hold the American people hostage. We will shut down the government, destroy thousands of lives, and we don't care. We don't care what the cost is to people. This is right after the other shutdown where people are still struggling. So let's take a listen to this.
Licensed CBP officers are performing their duties in a challenging environment under tremendous circumstances, but they're trying to do it with professionalism. If they don't, they'll be dealt with. Like any other federal agency, we have standards of conduct. They are sworn law enforcement officers working tirelessly to enforce our country's border security and immigration laws, protecting the interests of our country and preventing dangerous people from walking the streets of this nation when they're not supposed to be here to begin with. ICE and CBP officers are performing their duties in a challenging environment. This is common sense cooperation that allows us to draw down on the number of people we have here. Yes, I said it, draw down the number of people here. Because we have the efficiency and safety of the jails and the prison. Matter of fact, I have staff from CBP and from ICE working on a draw down plan. What does that look like based on the cooperation? What does that look like based on how many targets we have left to find? This is common sense cooperation that allows us to draw.
Do you see the coordination I'm trying to expose here? I think this is all about the government shutdown, and they are trying to stop the government from shutting down. I always tell you guys, I think everything's a psyop. I think everything is done in coordination in order to get us to a certain point. I have told you we are in the last days. Oh my gosh, I have discovered something so crazy. So crazy. I'm going to expose, not in maybe in my next video, but it's just, we are right on the cusp. As soon as this other deal from the Board of Peace is signed, guys, I don't even know what to tell you. More countries have joined. Some have declined. Then you see Canada and the UK. They just did a deal with China. It's a bigger deals that they have encompassing both countries. But understand this, guess what? So they just announced today that Canadian citizens and British citizens can now travel to China without for up to 30 days without needing a visa. That is showing the friendly, kind of cozy relationship they're trying to do. And you see most of the Western countries have rejected the Board of Peace. And the majority of the countries that are on that list are actually Muslim. And that is very key when it comes to end times, when it comes to dealing with Israel. And I am telling you now, we are there. So a lot of this is happening right now. Them doing a shutdown and creating all this chaos in the streets, having people, they're doing all these psyops, these psychological operations to push an agenda. And that is all, I believe, to distract us from the very important things that are happening. Digital ID is still on its way. I can update you on this month. Okay. So we've got a lot to get to. Make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, and yeah, I will see you on the next one.
All right, let's keep it moving because we got more to watch.
Victim. He is a violent person.
But first, new information on a man shot by a Border Patrol agent south of Tucson. His sister is speaking out, saying he's no victim. Thanks for joining us. I'm Valerie Cavazos. We're learning more about Patrick Gary Schlegel. He's in custody after the Border Patrol shot him yesterday morning on Arivaca Road. Agents say they were trying to pull him over for suspected human trafficking. 13 News reporter Kayla Butter brought you the late-breaking details on the shooting yesterday, and today she spoke with Schlegel's sister. She joins us live from the Pima County Sheriff's Department. Now, Kayla, what does she have to say about yesterday's incident?
Well, Valerie, she, for starters, says she's not surprised to see that her brother has been arrested, but she, after seeing mixed emotions and feelings on social media about yesterday's shooting, wants to make one thing clear to the community. Her brother does not need or deserve any sympathy.
I was actually making lunch and a neighbor had called and he heard it was my brother and it just blew me away. I had no clue. I dropped my plate and was, holy crap. That's my brother.
Amber Schlegel recalls the moment she found out her brother, Patrick Gary Schlegel, was the man involved in a Border Patrol shooting. Patrick Schlegel, a U.S. citizen, is being charged with assault on a federal officer after he shot at a U.S. Customs and Border Protection helicopter that was working to locate him after he was found transporting 2 illegal immigrants into the United States for money, according to his criminal complaint.
To hear that he's back running illegals again didn't surprise me, but to hear that he actually fired at federal agents That took me by surprise.
Schlegel was previously convicted of multiple felonies, including alien smuggling, and was wanted on a federal warrant before his arrest yesterday after escaping from custody in December. Amber says in the past day, she's seen people on social media and in protest defend her brother's actions, something she says is not warranted.
He is no victim. He is a violent person. That's who he always has been.
According to his criminal complaint, Schlegel was paid $22,000 to transport the two men into the United States, something Amber says he did strictly for his own financial gain.
You know, illegals or not, I don't care how people feel. They're people. He could have killed them with no care.
Amber says after his escape from custody in December, Schlegel sent her threatening messages for speaking out against him online, prompting her to file an order of protection against him. Now, she says regardless of how the investigation goes, she's just glad he's somewhere where he can't hurt her.
He's where he should be. Whether he recovers or not, he needs to be locked up for a very long time.
Schlegel remains in a Tucson hospital in serious but stable condition. Now, the Pima County Sheriff's Department is working with the FBI and investigating this case and should have some more information in the coming days. We'll bring you that as we learn more. Reporting live on Tucson Southside, Kayla Butter, 13.
All right, let's move it along.
An Anaheim woman accused of killing and decapitating her boyfriend has been arrested in Mexico and returned to the U.S. to face murder charges.
KTLA 5's Orange County Bureau Chief Chip Yost live now in Santa Ana with the latest details. Chip.
Yeah, hello there. Yeah, this is a case with some disturbing details. A 23-year-old Anaheim woman has been arrested, accused of beheading her boyfriend and then fleeing the country. However, she was caught last week. Let's show you a picture.
Oh, thank God they caught her.
We're talking about the suspect in this case. She's been identified as Elisa Lira, 23 years old, of Anaheim. We're told she was working as a stripper when she met a man, a 55-year-old man, Enrique Gonzalez Carbajal. They got into a dating relationship. They dated for a couple of months, but in August, some people got worried. Apparently, they hadn't seen him for a while. They went to check on him, found that he had been killed. Police now believe that the killer was his girlfriend, who we showed you there, Elisa Lira, but she had left for Mexico. Again, this happened in August. This was at a home, at an apartment on La Palma in Anaheim. So Anaheim police started working with the Orange County District Attorney's Office and other agencies, including the FBI, to locate the suspect. They found her recently in Mexico. They believe she fled there right after the killing. She was brought back last week and now will face charges of allegedly killing her boyfriend and beheading him in the process, cutting off his head during the murder. We'll have more on this. We just spoke to a spokesperson here at the Orange County District Attorney's Office about this case. We'll have more on that coming up next hour about this woman now in custody, accused of killing her boyfriend. That's it for now in Santa Ana. I'm Chip Yost. We'll send it back to you.
All right. Thank you, Chip.
How the hell? Let's keep it moving. That's disturbing.
Our other breaking story tonight, an arrest in connection with a deadly fire at an apartment building in the Bronx. The man under arrest accused of trying to steal a stove and letting out the gas that sparked the explosion. Eyewitness News reporter Sonia Rincon with details on the arrest and how police say this all unfolded.
This is the man allegedly caught on video pushing a stove out of his ex-girlfriend's Bronx apartment Friday night. Tonight, 55-year-old Samuel Calderon, who is homeless, is charged with murder. The fatal fire at the Boston Secor houses was sparked by a gas explosion, and police and fire marshals believe it's because the suspect ripped the stove away, leaving a gas leak. The FDNY was already on the scene that night to investigate the gas odor on the 15th floor, and neighbors were alerted about a leak.
I didn't really pay too much attention to it until the explosion happened. And then I saw the firefighters running from outside the truck into the building. I said, okay, that was real.
Could you hear an explosion?
Oh, I felt it.
The fire raged into Saturday morning, leaving 15 people hurt and a 60-year-old man dead. He's been identified tonight as Ronald McAllister. Now, 5 days later, hundreds of residents of the Bivona Avenue building still can't go home. The building is dark, under vacate order, structurally damaged from the blast.
It's kind of messed up, looking at everything that all the innocent people have to deal with.
More than 1,000 neighbors in the complex tonight don't have gas. They've been given hot plates.
Right now, I'm coming from buying food for my sons because I can't cook. It takes about 4 hours to cook one pot of rice.
The 4-building former NYCHA complex has been under new management for a little more than a year and undergoing renovations. Tenants receive new appliances, including brand new stoves.
God bless you.
Sources tell us suspect Samuel Calderon, who didn't have anything else to say tonight, somehow got into his ex's apartment knowing she wouldn't be home. They believe he was planning to sell the stove to buy drugs. Neighbors who witnessed the deadly inferno feared the ongoing work, with complaints of cutting corners caused the leak.
I don't feel better that it happened the way it did. I'm just happy that it wasn't my initial thought.
My thoughts and prayers are with the person who lost their lives, the people who are now displaced and have to figure out how to start over. You know, it wasn't worth it. We know it wasn't worth it.
In the Eastchester section of the Bronx, Sonia Rincon, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
Okay. Keep it moving.
A St. Louis County man who was shot in the face while checking on his car alarm spoke exclusively to Fox 2. He survived after doctors told his wife he was gone. Here's Fox Files investigator Chris Hayes with his story.
Oh my God.
Also nabbed the alleged shooter.
What the hell's going
3 years ago,
on?
just before Thanksgiving, Manasseh Kimbrough's car alarm was going off out front.
This is before Thanksgiving. Now we're hearing about this?
I'm like, what in the devil's going on? And when out of my peripheral, I saw something moving and saw a flash.
It was terrified. I came running behind him at the door, and the only thing I seen was him get shot and fall off the porch, and he hollered to me, "Get back, get back."
He was shot in the face, then the leg. It was about 2 a.m.
We activated like it was going to be a murder scene.
When I went to talk, I felt a gurgling, so I figured it was probably blood or something, anything.
They told me he was gone.
Teenagers on a crime spree that included a carjacking in a nearby Walmart parking lot, according to Berkeley Police Major Steve Runge.
Just a very small amount of people will do so much damage and crime. It's crazy.
Officer Mike Ricard made a key connection by getting DNA from a Sprite bottle the shooter tossed.
It was one of those aha moments. It was like, oh my God, I got to get this Sprite bottle, and which led me to breaking the case wide open.
This group is dismantled. One of them is deceased. He was shot by one of the other guys.
The same teen, police say, who shot Manasseh and who's now locked up for murder. Manasseh, whose face was repaired with the help of a metal plate, later happened upon Officer Ricard.
He looked at me and thought he saw a ghost, and we talked about it. He actually cried because he was so happy and overwhelmed that he saw me alive.
And that's kind of why I do this job, because to serve and protect.
It makes a difference now because I don't have to live in hiding.
This story goes well beyond this Fox Files report. Manasseh and his wife sat down with me for a powerful interview that will begin streaming this weekend on Fox 2 STL Plus. For the Fox Files, I'm Chris Hayes.
All right. Like I always say, keep moving forward with, we're going to see some liberal hive mind. Yes.
Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. And of course, here's the meme of the day brought to you by 5mind.com. Well, it's always the same lie now, isn't it, right? Peaceful protesters, they say.
The vast majority of protesters, like 99.9%, have been engaging in peaceful protests.
Again, they're out here repeating the same disgusting lie. But nothing about these anti-ICE riots have been peaceful. There's little pockets of peace, let's call it, but for the most part, it's been complete chaos and seditious behavior. And of course, we already have enough evidence to make that case, to make that claim, but might as well pile on to it, because this week we've probably seen some of the most egregious examples of left-wing radicalism. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on. Let's expose the true nature of the left. Let's debunk this peaceful protest nonsense, shall we? Two things that are so clearly diametrically opposed are peaceful protesting and the city of Minneapolis. Let me show you guys what's going on. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so this is a pretty crazy case. Remember, we were covering that story, I think maybe a week and a half ago, where Democrats broke into a federal vehicle and started stealing all the documentation and the rifle that was in that locker, information of certain ICE agents. They ended up in live stream and posting it online. Well, it was obvious why that was such an egregious crime, because clearly one of that cases was going to act on it, and that's exactly what happened. The FBI now announces a woman reportedly used a stolen federal vehicle, quote, to kill an officer, his wife, and child.
What the hell?
Bro, you not arresting her.
Yeah, nothing says just my peaceful protesting and engaging in my First Amendment rights like threatening to kill an entire family. People are insane, and the threats non-stop. You know, sure, we've been seeing more general threats aimed at any ICE agent all over TikTok. We have video upon video of Democrats calling to shoot ICE agents, but it's not. In some cases, they've taken these threats and targeted specific people. You know, they aren't trying to dox these ICE agents for no reason. This is what's happening. I got another egregious example here. This is a voicemail that was sent to an ICE agent and his family by another crazed individual.
You're a fascist pig. You should think yourself. I hope your wife dies. I hope your mom and dad die. I hope anything wrong that could go right happens. You should yourself. You're disgusting, murderer, and all of your friends are murderers.
These people belong in mental asylums. I mean, the behavior is completely out of line. And again, it doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's not coming out of nowhere. First off, it's probably mostly connected to the fact that all the asylums were closed long ago. Once again, more proof that was a massive freaking mistake. But secondly, it comes from the top. These people are simply mirroring the sentiment that is being pushed upon them by these insane, violent, top-level Democrats and Democrat thought leaders and activists all over social media and in the education system. Need more proof? Take a look at what the Philadelphia district attorney just said publicly in front of a crowd.
This is a small bunch of wannabe Nazis. That's what they are. In a country of 350 million, we outnumber them. If we have to hunt you down the way they hunted down Nazis for decades, we will find your identities. We will find you.
Idiot.
We will achieve justice.
Now, of course, I'm sure he'll legally justify it. Oh, what we mean is to legally hunt these people down. And sure, you know, you could play plausible deniability. You could play a semantics game. That's, of course, the typical lawyer tactic. But, you know, considering these are people who know very well how to choose their words, well, obviously, he's sending another message now, isn't he? Obviously, he knows exactly what he's doing. And I think it's pretty hard to argue that that isn't a call to violence. That's not an escalation of tension. And here's another example, very similar to the last. We've got this absolute insane freak, a candidate for attorney general in Ohio, a Democrat named Elliot Forhan, who keeps saying repeatedly on his social media that he wants to, quote, kill Donald Trump. But then he legally justifies it by saying he wants to bring Donald Trump down through the court of law and hand him the death penalty.
I want to tell you what I mean when I say that I am going to kill Donald Trump. I mean, I'm going to obtain a conviction rendered by a jury of his peers at a standard of proof beyond a reasonable doubt based on evidence presented at a trial conducted in accordance with the requirements of due process, resulting in a sentence duly executed of capital punishment. That is what I mean when I say that I'm going to Donald Trump.
It's just insane. This is the political rhetoric on the left. This is how far they've taken things. We're not dealing with rational people here. These people, in so many ways, are becoming monsters. And really, I think they're becoming everything that they claim to fear, that they claim the other side represents. And probably most importantly, it's coming from the top. And then, of course, it's mirrored from the bottom. This is a party, a political ideology that has become so absolutely radicalized. This is why their base is hunting people down in the streets. And actually, that's probably the perfect segue to the next topic. James O'Keefe, the latest example, political opposition getting hunted down in the streets. He's been attempting to do some on-the-ground reporting in Minneapolis, and instantly, the anti-ICE people tracked down his vehicle. They even got his cell phone number and texted him multiple death threats. And then eventually, they found him on the street, started chasing him out of town, with one rider even throwing a frozen water bottle at his car as the mob surrounded the vehicle and forced them to flee.
I am shocked and amazed at how organized they are. I've never seen anything like this. Every vehicle, they're able to track, run the plates, confirm who they are, get their ID, like they did in my case. They ran my license plate. We're trying to figure out how they're able to do that and communicate with each other about it. And when I got out of my vehicle, this is like 11:30 in the morning, just after the shooting and before the autonomous zone. Within seconds, there were 5 of them standing outside of a relatively inconspicuous vehicle, interrogating me, asking to see my identification. I've never seen anything in my life. A group of people more organized. And I warn people, because people are tempted to say, well, this is funded. And honestly, Megan, and what I think and what I believe to be true is there isn't some one boogeyman funding all of this. It's a loose network of NGOs, some of which indirectly get funds from our government, but people actually really believe in their cause. And it's a cause that it appears to me that they're willing to live and die for, which is, I think, more terrifying than one guy funding them in a transactional way.
They're everywhere. Shut the door. Shut the door.
Fucking everywhere.
Whoa.
No, they throwing shit.
We're press. You know what the First Amendment is? First Amendment. No.
Fucking idiot.
They threw a frozen ice brick at the car.
It's completely insane. You know, these people have lost the plot. This is what we're dealing with. This is not peaceful protest. This is harassment. It's incitement to violence. It's direct calls of violence. It's actual violence. You know, these people are constantly pointing the finger at the other side saying un-American, unconstitutional, extreme, radicalized, ultra MAGA thug, this, that, and the other. But they are everything that they claim the other side is. They're the ones who are un-American. The American way is to debate ideas, to do things peacefully with decency. This group clearly represents the opposite of American values, and they prove it time and time again, as if, you know, stomping and burning the American flag wasn't signal enough. Anyways, that's what I got for you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
Okay, let's keep moving forward.
Bringing you breaking news on Fox 2 News at 4. Near Sullivan, Missouri, where 4 people have been rescued after a private helicopter crashed into the water. This happened just before 2 this afternoon in Merrimack State Park. It's about 60 miles southwest of St. Louis along I-44. Fox 2's Kelly Hoskins is live on the scene with the latest. Kelly, what can you tell us?
Well, Jasmine, we're here in Merrimack State Park, where the road right here behind me is blocked off as crews continue to investigate. This is where authorities say that helicopter went down into the Merrimack River, which prompted an emergency response. And we want to go ahead and show you some of those photos provided by the Sullivan Fire Protection District, where this all unfolded this afternoon. The helicopter carrying a state park team members conducting an ecological survey at Merrimack State Park struck a power line and landed in the Merrimack River late this afternoon. Now, the Missouri Department of Natural Resources says 4 people were on board, and all were able to get out of the helicopter and were taken to a hospital here in Sullivan.
They survived.
We believe that their injuries are minor, and the investigation continues. Rescue divers and state park rangers responded to the scene, and the photos show the river partially covered with a layer of ice at the time of the crash.
Oh, they got lucky.
About 1 o'clock this afternoon, we were notified of a helicopter going down in Merrimack State Park here in Franklin County, Missouri. There were 3 team members from Missouri DNR on site, or on this helicopter with the pilot, who was a contract pilot. All 4 members had minor injuries, thank goodness, and they self-rescued themselves out of the crashed helicopter.
And once again, this is an ongoing investigation, and the road behind me will remain closed as crews remain here trying to figure out what exactly led up to this crash. Reporting live in Sullivan, Kelly Hoskins, Fox 2 News.
Wow, keep them moving. Let's resize this one real quick. Let's put the volume up.
Neighbor for playing his music too loud. Michael Thrasher appeared before a judge for that.
Yeah, that's right. Michael Thrasher did appear before a judge for the first time today. Very briefly, the judge gave him no bond, and residents in that neighborhood where the shooting happened are hoping that this shooting will lead to better security in the area.
Mr. Thrasher, are you here today?
32-year-old Michael Thrasher appeared before an Orange County judge Thursday afternoon for the first time since his arrest. Court documents show on January 21st, Orange County Sheriff's deputies were called to these apartments on Moselle Avenue off Old Cheney Highway. Deputies say Thrasher, quote, walked out of his apartment armed with a handgun and went to his neighbor, Arnold Rapatello's apartment to confront Rapatello due to excessive volume of music or noise. Surveillance video shows Thrasher, quote, banging, kicking, and attempting to force entry by trying the door handle. When Rapatello opened the door, deputies say Thrasher stuck his foot in to keep it open. Deputies say an argument turned into a physical fight, with Thrasher hitting Rapallo. That fight continued outside, where Thrasher, quote, drew his firearm from his waistband and fired one round into Rapallo's chest, ultimately killing him. One neighbor we talked with moved into the complex the day after the shooting.
Worried a little bit because I was told that this area was changing. It's actually changing for the better. I spoke with some of the neighbors and it seems to be doing better, but it does make me a little nervous.
While deputies have increased patrols since the shooting, neighbors who've lived there longer say the area isn't always safe.
A lot of traffic goes through here all hours of the night, anywhere from 11 at night till sometimes 6 in the morning. Get a lot of overflow because on the backside of BP, obviously, you know, there's the methadone clinic.
Thrasher faces charges of first-degree felony murder while engaging in a burglary and armed burglary of an occupied dwelling with battery.
And Thrasher is due back in court on February 3rd for a pretrial hearing. Covering Orange County live from the sheriff's office tonight, I'm Luana Munoz. Send it back to you.
That's crazy, man. You're gonna kill someone because they're playing loud music. Okay, you can tell them to put it down, but you don't have to fucking kill them. Next.
Yeah, there have been fatalities, a lot of injuries related to this winter storm this weekend.
Yeah, Paige Ellenberger joining us now in studio with an update. Paige.
Brandon Lauren, to start off, I want to start with the numbers from Cook Children's. It says more than 50 children were taken to the hospital due to sledding accidents. Doctors say the youngest was just 2 years old. Their injuries spanned from broken bones to head trauma to internal organ damage. And pediatricians are reminding parents to talk with your children about how to be safe all while having fun.
Yeah,
in the
be
meantime,
careful out
in Frisco,
there.
2 teenagers are dead after they were sledding behind a Jeep and hit a tree. 16-year-old Elizabeth Angle died Sunday after the accident. The young girl's friend was brought to the hospital as well. And according to a post from Elizabeth's family, the second girl has since died. Elizabeth was a sophomore at Wakeland High School where she played soccer. Her parents are now remembering her as a kind-spirited person. They hope their daughter's story will inspire others.
We're just regular people. And we, just try to be good parents, and it's just one of those things. You hear these stories and you think, like, that's never gonna happen to me. And it did.
If there's anything to be learned from this situation, it's go out and have fun,
That's the problem. She went out and had fun and she died.
A football player is in the ICU following a sledding accident as well. Kaden Nowicki is a student in the Ponder ISD. The district did not provide any details other than saying he was critically injured. The Ponder football coach posting on X asking for prayers for Nowicki and his family. For a good day, I'm Paige Ellenberger.
That's crazy. Okay, keep it going.
News on alleged CEO Luigi Mangione, and it involves a failed jailbreak.
Yeah, police say a man pretended to be a federal agent, showed up at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, where Mangione is being housed, and asked guards to release Mangione into his custody.
Police say obviously the plan did not work, and now that suspect is also behind bars. ABC Aaron just here live with what we know so far about the suspect and the plan behind it.
It was just crazy. It is crazy because it was about 7 o'clock, a little before last night. Guy shows up at MDC in Brooklyn named Mark Anderson. He's claiming to be an FBI agent with court authorization to spring Mangione from behind bars. According to the criminal complaint, he told the Bureau of Prisons guards he had paperwork signed by a judge. The guards asked for identification, and that's when prosecutors say he showed only a Minnesota driver's license and threw a bunch of papers. And the FBI said those were just
Minnesota.
The Justice Department. Anderson claimed he had weapons in his bag, but a search turned up only a barbecue fork and a pizza cutter that you see there. He's charged with impersonating a federal agent and should be in front of a federal magistrate in Brooklyn about now. Anderson came to New York apparently for a job interview that didn't work out. He's been working at a local pizzeria. There's no indication that Anderson and Mangione knew each other. However, depending on what happens in court today, it is possible, guys, they will both be spending time at MDC.
Just so bizarre, and no idea why he did this at all at this point.
No motive, no indication he knew him, though we know Mangione's case has drawn its followers.
And he is back in federal court tomorrow for a very big decision, right, Mangione?
It is possible the federal judge is going to decide, Liz, whether Mangione could still face the death penalty if he's convicted of federal charges related to the killing of Brian Thompson. If he is death eligible in the eyes of the judge, his trial could start in January. If she takes the death penalty off the table, the federal trial could start in October.
And that decision could really have an impact on the state trial as well, and when that plays out.
Sure
too.
could. The Manhattan DA's office wants Mangione put on trial sooner than everything in state court sometime in July.
All right. Thank you, Aaron.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Okay, let me bring it to me. Who the fuck wants to bring this guy out? Who came up with the genius plan? It's like the mastermind. He's like, I know how I'm gonna get him out. I'm gonna pretend to be an FBI agent. And the train of truth is here. And I'm gonna provide them my ID from Minnesota. They're gonna let him out. Right. What an idiot. Like, that was stupid. That was so stupid. I just can't. I'm still trying to, like, I gotta see another news on that one. Give me a
But first,
second.
let's
Let me
begin with
set
that
it up.
breaking news. According to court filings and law enforcement sources.
YouTube continue to, like, YouTube continues to suck. But let's get some more news on this, because that blew my mind for a second. Who would I would like to see who was the person that actually went and did this. Like, I want to see how they look. Was it a they them impersonating an FBI agent and going with fake documents from a judge to release, like, where he was going to release them to? What vehicle? Like, how like, I would love to see that whole from the beginning to the end, because I hate the news. I tell you, the reason why is because they only give you from the end and then the judging part. They don't give you the beginning nor the middle. Nope, they only give you the end. And that's where you have to go by. No, I want to see the whole shit, how this whole shit happened. I want to see the cameras and how he made his way in to provide and to try to get this Mangione out of jail. I want to see the whole thing. Don't give me half-ass. That's half-ass right there. I don't want half-ass. I want the whole, like, all the evidence. Like, how are you gonna oh my god. And then, like, he only provides a document saying that a judge requests him to be released to his custody and this and this and that. And, like, no, there's ways of that, of them doing that. One, they would be calling first. I mean, there's protocols, you know? So they would call first, then they would cross check, and then it's a whole process. Not just go up to a jail and be like, yeah, here's a piece of paper. It's like kind of like elementary. Remember back in, like, middle school when they used to come with a piece of paper and they give it to the teacher, and they were like, and then they'll call the student's name, or like my name will be called, like, Rick, gather your things, you're going home early. I'm like, woohoo. I'd be so happy when that happened. I was like, I remember those days when my mom went and picked me up early because she had something to do at the time that I was getting out. So she was like, I prefer just to get them and so forth. But guy went up to, I can't believe this. Are they gonna do the same thing for Diddy? We forgot about Diddy, right? Everyone forgot about Diddy. Diddy's in jail still. And don't worry, those months are counting down, and he's very chummy in jail. He's no fear. Like, he has everything, like, under control, because that's how he manipulates people. He manipulates people in and out of the system. He is an operative. It's just anyhow, I'll ramble. There's check out this other story. This is coming from CBS. Let's see what CBS has to say about this attempted escape. This is funny. Let's put up the hold on. Let me start it from the beginning they put up the volume. Oh, there you go.
But first, let's begin with that breaking news. According to court filings and law enforcement sources, a man attempted to impersonate an FBI agent last night in order to release Luigi Mangione. Let's bring in CBS News legal reporter Katrina Kaufman, who's following that story for us. Katrina, this sounds just bizarre. What have you learned?
So
He's
we
from
learned that
Minnesota.
this man, Mark Anderson, he's a 36-year-old from Minnesota, went to the Metropolitan Detention Center. That is where Luigi Mangione is being held. It is also where Maduro is being held, among other people. But what he told them is that he had a court order from a judge to release Luigi Mangione. He also said, when confronted, he gave them his Minnesota driver's license, but he purported himself to be a member of the FBI. He told them that he had weapons in his bag, but as you mentioned, it turned out he had this barbecue fork and then a pizza cutter. Now, federal law enforcement services told CBS News that Anderson had traveled to New York for a job opportunity, that job opportunity didn't work out, and he had been working in a pizzeria here. He is being charged with impersonating a FBI officer. So we are still learning more details about all of this, but it is a very strange story. Luigi Mangione is also set to be back in court tomorrow for his federal case. So it's very timely that he was trying to get him out ahead of that hearing.
Katrina Kaufman, thank you so much.
That is crazy. Who? There's like a whole process that, yeah, you can't just go up to the jail and be like, okay, I have a letter here from a judge. I'm an FBI agent, but I don't have my credentials with me. But here's my Minnesota driver's license. If you have that feeling of laughing, you should laugh. Because it's fucking ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. Like, they said, how old was he? 36? A 36-year-old? I want to see what he looks like. Oh, we're not going to get that until a little bit later. I know we're going to get more news on that because that's just breaking news. So, that's weird. Like, why? What what would make someone go from all the way from Minnesota, right? Okay, all the way to New York City, because that's where Luigi is at. He's in the same jail where Diddy. Well, Diddy, I don't think Diddy's there anymore. I think Diddy, they moved him to Jersey, I believe. But that's where Maduro is right now. You know, the former president of Venezuela. Yeah, he's in that same jail. And I want to see the documents. I want to see the cameras. I want to see what this person looks like. I want to see the whole interaction, because I'm sure there's cameras facing everywhere of this person. Like what he thought they were gonna do. Just, oh yeah, here you go. What? It made zero sense. That is crazy. I definitely want to see that mugshot. I can't wait to see it. I hope it comes up tonight. I'm going to be searching for it. I am going to search for it while we're watching more of the news here. I'm going to search for that picture. I want to see what the guy looks like. 36-year-old. I want to see if it's a they, them, or he, she, or what it is. Like, I don't know if it was a male or female. I think it was a male. So I just need more to that story. That story has legs, and I am just, like, a little interested in figuring out why would they do that? Why would he do that? And then not only that, he said he had weapons and he had a pitchfork. And what was the other thing he had? Oh man, I forgot what the fuck the other thing he had. A pitchfork. Oh, and a pizza cutter. A pizza cutter. A barbecue pitchfork and a pizza cutter. That was his weapons. If Trump, listen to me. If you ever, I don't know, if even maybe the frequency will get to you. Maybe you'll hear this. Trump, please reopen the mental institutions. Please reopen them. We need plenty throughout this country, and not only that, but that'll help more because they would need to hire a lot of personnel for these asylums, and that would be great for the younglings that go to school and they want to become nurses or anything. They could get into the asylum, and have the government run the asylums. It's gonna have to. It's gonna have to be. We're gonna have to fork the bills for it, but there's a lot of people that need to go into it. I mean, there's so many fucking people. Oh my god. It's just, please reopen the insane asylums and also open up more prisons. We need more prisons. We need a couple of more supermax prisons, and I think a total of about, I would say, about 10 to 13 prisons that need to be opened up throughout this country, and they're gonna need staff to fulfill those positions, to pretty much babysit the prisoners. And then it could be like a jail, and then it could be like the ICE detention within the jail too, because they'll have like a section for the detainees that they're gonna either, depending on what their crimes were and so forth, or they committed crimes here and they gotta serve time here. They can put him in one of the jails here until he's done with serving his time, and then deport him out after. Yeah, it's just a mess. The United States, I'm telling you, 4 years of Biden was the biggest nightmare ever. Because you gotta understand, every day, thousands upon thousands, like 30, 40, 50,000 people were crossing that border on a daily basis. They were migrating here. It was just like the big ass locusts. That's what they are. They come, they eat, they shit and complain, and they got something coming for them. When their benefits are completely cut off and their funds are cut off, how are they going to survive? They're going to have to go back home. We gotta force them out, one way or another, and whoever allow these individuals to get on these programs should be in jail, should be in prison. And Biden, I'm looking at you. Kamala, I'm looking at you too. Y'all should be in jail. But yet, there's no accountability, so not even they won't even get that. Nope. They won't get the nope. That's too much. You can't do that to them. They're untouchable. They can't be held accountable. It's ridiculous, man. I'm living in the upside down. I'm living upside down. I keep saying it every day. It's like I get more confirmation that I am in the upside down. But let's keep it moving. We got more to watch. Let's see what this is about.
Thanks for being with us here on Live Now from Fox. I'm your host, Christina Evans. We do want to continue on with our top stories that we're following today, and we're still following up on several international stories as well. I do want to put this up on your screen. This is a statement that we have there from Pete Hegseth. Of course, he is the defense secretary. Earlier today, he was speaking there at the President Trump's cabinet meeting, talking about the Iran threat. And so ultimately, we do know that U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said today that the U.S. military will be prepared to carry out whatever President Trump decides on Iran to ensure that Tehran does not pursue nuclear weapons capability. With a large U.S. military force that is now gathered there in the region, Hegseth was asked by Trump at the cabinet meeting to comment on that situation. And of course, we do know that this all comes after this statement that we saw here from President Trump just yesterday. He put this on his Truth Social account, saying a massive armada is now headed to Iran. It is moving quickly with great power, enthusiasm, and purpose. It is a larger fleet headed by the great aircraft carrier Abraham Lincoln. Then that's sent to Venezuela. Like Venezuela, it is ready, willing, and able to rapidly fulfill its mission with the speed and violence if necessary. Hopefully, Iran will quickly, quote, come to the table and negotiate a fair and equitable deal. No nuclear weapons, one that is good for all parties. Time is running out. It is truly of the essence. As I told Iran once before, make a deal. They didn't, and there was an Operation Midnight Hammer, a major destruction of Iran. The next attack will be far worse. Don't make that happen again. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And so, of course, as President Trump is now speaking out, we do know that we're going to continue to follow this situation, getting the latest updates. And so now I'd like to bring into the conversation Stephen Cook with the Council on Foreign
They're really
Relations.
reviewing the
Thanks so much for
satellite.
being with us here on Live Now from Fox.
Thanks. Pleasure to be with you.
Well, let's start with the very basics. We know that President Trump has gone back and forth over the past 2 weeks or so on his rhetoric on Iran and what he plans to do there in the region. Of course, this statement coming out on Truth Social just yesterday, and Hegseth sort of backing up those claims that the U.S. is now ready for whatever, especially as it pertains to any military strikes there in the region. I have to ask you, what is leading to this shift in how he's talking?
Well, the entire episode is somewhat curious, especially the president's emphasis in his Truth Social post about Iran's nuclear weapons. If you go back to this past summer and Operation Midnight Hammer, which he referenced in that post, the president had declared that Iran's nuclear program had been totally destroyed. We are at this place because the president had vowed to protect Iranian protesters who, over the course of the last month, have risen up against the Islamic regime. And the Islamic regime has responded with heavy caliber weaponry, killing thousands of people in the streets. We have now gone from protecting those protesters to either a deal on Iran's nuclear program or military action. I think that with the amount of military force in the region, I think we are getting to a point where either Iran is going to have to climb down and make some sort of deal, or the president is going to have to use military force. I can't imagine him backing down at this point.
And so we're seeing some video footage here. Of course, this is similar to what we expect could potentially be there near the region of Iran, as he's talking about some of those things that are in place. I also, though, here, Stephen, want to see your reaction as we talked about Pete Hegseth speaking out. I'm going to play out this for you here on Live Now.
With Iran right now, ensuring that they have all the options to make a deal. They should not pursue nuclear capabilities. We will be prepared to deliver whatever this president expects with Iran right now.
All right, as you heard there, he says that they're willing to bring whatever the president does expect. When you're listening to that from Pete Hegseth, does that match pretty much what the president has been hoping that would be said by a member of his cabinet in this position?
Well, of course, Secretary of Defense Hegseth is echoing what the president's policy is here. And I think he's making clear that with the significant amount of military force in the region, the United States is well prepared to try to disarm the Iranians, whether it is their nuclear program or their ballistic missile program, which is also a very significant threat to U.S. partners in the region.
And so as we're continuing to look forward as well, we know that President Trump, even in that statement, talked about previous military operations that had been done in Iran. Of course, we know that this did severely impact their ability to have nuclear power. Do you know if there are any other key targets that he's specifically looking at in the country?
Well, the United States over the summer in Operation Midnight Hammer did do a significant amount of damage to Iran's main nuclear sites. Of course, We don't have a clear and understanding of how durable that damage is. So those areas, those facilities will be targeted once again. Although I suspect that a lot of this discussion about disarming the Iranians and destroying their nuclear program is really cover for going after regime targets. The leadership of the Islamic Republic, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, which has been involved in the violence in the streets, as well as what's known as the Basij militia, which has also been involved in killing large numbers of Iranians in the streets. With the amount of firepower the United States has in the region, this military operation may not look quite like the one over last summer, which was essentially a one and done. This may be much larger with a broader set of targets than what we saw in Operation Midnight Hammer.
And so, of course, we're looking there at the screen, just some video footage, of course, President Trump and the supreme leader there in the Iranian country. I have to ask you, yet another country that has a lot of influence there in the region, of course, is Israel. Israel and the United States are allies, as Israel and Iran have a very strained relationship, just to put it nicely. I have to ask you here, Stephen, do you think that Israel has any influence ultimately on the decision that President Trump will make as he moves forward?
Israeli officials have said that they are taking a back seat here and that it is entirely up to the president of the United States. It's true that the Israeli intelligence chief is in Washington today. Undoubtedly, a potential strike on Iran is part of the conversations that he is having with his American counterparts. But this will be an American show. Of course, if the Iranians retaliate by attacking Israel, as they have vowed to do, you can expect to see a very significant Israeli response.
And so as we're still looking ahead, we've heard the remarks there from Secretary Hegseth as well as President Trump. I have to ask you, are there any tea leaves, anything that Americans can be on the lookout for that might tip their hand to let us know what potentially could happen there in the region if the president will choose to strike militarily?
Well, it's very hard with this president because he says that he relies mostly on his gut, and it's very, very hard to get any insight into the president's gut. But I will say this, with the large amount of forces, the massive amount of forces, it would be odd for the president not to use it when he has it at his disposal.
All right. And so we've been talking here with Stephen Cook with the Council on Foreign Relations. Stephen, anything that we missed, anything else that we didn't cover as we're looking at the U.S. and Iran as they are still sort of now posturing against each other?
Yeah, I think one point that is worth mentioning is that in all of this discussion about a negotiation and a deal, many in the Iranian opposition are actually opposed to a deal because they believe it gives a lifeline to a terrible regime that is responsible for economic ruin, mass corruption, and now mass death. And they would prefer there not to be a negotiation because it would allow this regime to slip from the noose around which the Iranian people have had them and which President Trump vowed to bring down in response to the violence against the Iranian people.
And of course, we know that the Iranian military today also said that they are prepared to, quote, immediately retaliate against a U.S. attack. That's according to Tehran's top diplomat as well. So we'll continue to stay on top of the story here on Live Now from Fox. Stephen, thanks so much for being with us.
My pleasure.
Okay, let's move it along.
Breaking today, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth says all options remain on the table for U.S. action in Iran. Listen here.
We're having to rebuild how our enemies perceive us. And when President Trump said, we're not getting a nuclear Iran, you won't have a nuclear bomb, he meant it. They have all the options to make a deal. They should not pursue nuclear capabilities. We will be prepared to deliver whatever this president expects of the War Department.
Senior Foreign Affairs correspondent Greg Palcott reports live. He's in London for us. Greg, where do things stand right now?
Well, John, as you just heard, the Trump administration is ratcheting up pressure on Iran to act. The White House now reportedly considering a range of possible military targets in response to the regime's bloody crackdown on demonstrators, which left tens of thousands dead, injured, arrested. And this comes after the threat from Trump yesterday for Iran to make a deal to limit its missile program, put an end to its nuclear program, cut off aid to its proxies, or face an even bigger attack than the U.S. helped unleash on Iran last year. The USS Abraham Lincoln Aircraft Carrier Group, plus other assets, are now in the region. Iran, for its part, saying it is ready to respond to any military scenario, and likewise is also ready to talk, but only, in its words, with dignity. A lot of other folks, a lot of other countries are speaking, both Trump administration and Iran, trying to look for an off-ramp. Russia says any U.S. military action would be chaos, but they're also looking at possible evacuation of their locals inside Iran just in case. And, John, some support from over here, the European Union sanctioning a range of Iranian officials for their role in the protests and also branding Revolutionary Guards as a terror group. The pressure mounts. Back to you.
All right, Greg, we'll see which way it goes. Thank you so much. Sandra?
Hey, Sean Hannity.
All right, let's keep it moving.
The local house community in Las Vegas is dealing with huge loss.
Social media influencer Shirley Raines, founder of Beauty to the Streets, has died. TMZ reports that Raines, also known as Miss Shirley, was found dead in her Henderson home yesterday. Fox 5 covered Miss Shirley's work back in 2024. She dedicated her life to giving back and feeding the unhoused, traveling back and forth from here to LA to do as much good as possible. And Fox 5's Victoria Saha joins us now in studio with how Las Vegas is remembering her.
With more than 1 million followers in social media, Miss Shirley Raines let the world watch as she helped the most underserved communities. And to feed the most vulnerable, she relied on businesses to do their part.
What Shirley loved about our boards is that it didn't matter that it wasn't a board for a client, because we were making it for a very special client, and that was her clients.
Miss Shirley Raines' clients were people who called the streets their home, bringing her mission, beauty to the streets, in every way possible.
Vegas used to be my party city like everybody else. Outside of the party and outside of the strip, I was shown another world. I saw the streets.
Fox 5 spoke with Raines back in 2024 as she split her time between Las Vegas and LA to feed the most vulnerable.
Burger first, okay? You want chicken or beef? Burger, please.
From the first time we met with her, it was pure joy.
Kim Groberg is the general manager of Boards and Grays. Every month, she and her team made 100 charcuterie boxes for Raines to give out.
It always was the same as if we were doing it for a paying customer. To see the joy that she brought to the people that she served and knowing the pain and grief that she had gone through in her own personal life.
This past Christmas, Groberg's team surprised Raines with a treat of her own, their largest charcuterie board.
She said, I have purpose, but I don't really have happiness. But the happiness that she brought to all of the people that she served was just so inspiring. And so we wanted to do something for her.
Their last interaction was just earlier this month, and it's something that Groberg will cherish forever.
She said, I just want to thank you so much for the time that you and Cheryl put into putting these together.
Leaving behind a lasting legacy of purpose.
What happened to her, though? Yeah,
Groberg tells me they were getting ready for a big Valentine's Day order for Raines, and they've been trying to get in touch with her but weren't able to. But they are determined to continue giving back to beauty to the streets. Kim.
Victoria, thank you. And Raines was known for more than her philanthropy work. Back in 2021, she was awarded CNN's Hero of the Year. And this year, she won the NAACP Image Award for Outstanding Social Media Personality. Officials haven't
heard of her.
Her cause of death.
Never heard of her until she died. That's wild. Like, who knew? You know, it's. I mean, Lizzo's crying over here, I guess, for this person. That's an Entertainment Tonight, but I'm not a fan of Lizzo, so I ain't watching that shit. Let's keep it moving.
Good evening. A neighborhood is left frozen solid after residents say a water main break flooded their street on Monday. Days later, they're still stuck. Our Angelica Gallagher spoke with neighbors today and has their story.
Here on Holly Street in Buffalo, residents tell me a massive water main break flooded the street, quickly turning it into what looked like a river in a matter of minutes. Now, days later, this neighborhood is still stuck, frozen under thick sheets of ice. You can see in my hand here, cars are still frozen to the road. And now neighbors are turning to the city and asking for help.
It drained later on that night, but the damage was already done.
A Buffalo neighborhood now left frozen solid 2 nights after residents watched rushing water quickly fill the street.
I mean, I couldn't believe it. It was pretty much where the lighting was.
My friend drives an SUV and the water got into the engine. So it was above the tire. It was at least 3 feet of water. My one friend literally had to like go and crawl out in it and like literally like try to move their car.
Truck that was sitting behind us, they moved their vehicle and you can hear the struggle in their vehicle moving.
The sewer authority said that it was not a sewer, or it had on the ticket closed out. It said that it was a water main break.
From cars stuck to the street to property damage, the below freezing temps are wreaking havoc on Holly's residents.
Yeah,
Most
they're
of my
frozen.
basement flooded. It was about a foot of water, so it broke both my hot water tanks. My whole front yard is ice, which makes it hard to get out. I'm lucky I have some work from home hours, but my friends who live with me, you know, they had to trek out and get this. And my one friend had to call out basically because they found out their car was broken.
We can't move our vehicles.
Oh my God.
Pretty much the wheel, you can even press on the gas and your car's not moving.
My car doesn't start nor run.
Yeah, look, it doesn't move.
I've been to take my daughter to school. I've been basically breaking ice off my tires just in case if it did start, I'd be able to get out. But it was no luck.
I'm not towing my car away for something that's not my fault. You know, that's paying money out of our pockets. I called City Hall just for some type of assistance, and they said they don't do any towing. So at this point, I didn't know what to do.
Residents now calling on the city of Buffalo for help.
Yeah.
Over here, basically.
I mean, that's not their fault.
People come and check on us, at least make sure that we were okay, make sure that our homes
That was a water main break.
okay, but we didn't get any of that. I would like to at least see a crew at least come out and try to clear out the streets a lot more.
The city saying in a statement to News 4, anyone with damage to their vehicle can contact the Office of Claims at 716-851-4340. In Buffalo, Angelica Gallagher, News 4.
Yeah, I'm sure they have an account where they can, you know, refund some of these funds. Let's keep it moving.
Okay, that was far-left Congresswoman Ilhan Omar claiming the justice in Congress probing her sudden skyrocketing wealth to $30 million in just 1 year, that they have a problem with her living the American dream. You heard her say the goddamn United States of America. We've got new questions on where she and her husband got all that money. Joining us now, Forbes Media Chair, Editor-in-Chief Steve Forbes. Steve, new information coming in, and Forbes magazine, your magazine has reported this too, that the state of Delaware and Washington, D.C. canceled the registrations for Omar's husband's investment firm, Rose Lake, for not paying its back taxes. We saw it owed more than $400,000 to Delaware and nearly $1,800 to D.C. She's claiming it's worth $25 million from less than $1,000 a year before. How can his investment firm not afford to pay taxes? It's supposedly worth an estimated $75 million to $150 million. This is really weird stuff.
Well, weird is not the word for it. There's another word for it called crooked. And that's why we have to have an investigation into this. As you know, the Biden administration started examining her finances and that of her husband. And so surprise, surprise, that investigation went nowhere. But it's amazing how people can go into Congress and then become these entrepreneurial investing geniuses, where they come in. She had under $1,000 of net worth and her husband didn't have much. And suddenly now they're multimillionaires. Is there a money laundering operation here? And in terms of the firms themselves, they have a sketchy background. That winery in California that she and her husband own, where did that come from? Where's the wine there? And nobody can seem to find it. So there's a lot of smelly stuff here. And that's why in the American Dream, her version of the American Dream is the Al Capone version of the American Dream, Tony Soprano version of the American Dream, and that is steal it from the taxpayers. And so there's a lot of stuff here. And so when somebody cloaks themselves in the American Dream, and so you have numbers like this from minus 1,000 to 30, 40 million, you know something is not right.
Yeah,
And
she's also like, blaming people, bullying, doing race baiting, race bullying. There's no evidence, public evidence, there's even a winery. She valued it at $5 million. His investment firm is real. It's supposedly real. Its DC headquarters appear to share office space at a WeWork, Steve. There's no track record of his firm managing money, doing M&A deals, no clients we see, investment deals, or any work it's done. They say they do work in 80 nations operating in. There's no SEC registrations for them as investment advisors. What is going on here? This increasingly looks sketchy, both the winery and his investment firm.
Yeah, the winery may not exist, and the firm may be just really a name only, as you say, a WeWork office. Big deal. So that's why the investigation needs to be done. And suddenly all that 30 million, I think you're going to find, I'll make a speculation, a prediction, that 30 million came from sources that are illegal, period.
Thank you so much, Steve Forbes, helping us to break it down. We're going to stay on the story.
Damn, that's crazy. They just telling her right to her face, illegal. Illegal, a lot of money, a lot of money that went. Like, how can you have you just open up a winery, right? How are you gonna open up a winery and then not have that much money? You owe money, and then all of a sudden, in a few less than 2 years, you have 30 million. I need to know that trick. Like, share that trick with us, the people, because I tell you right now, she's double dipping. She's grabbing, she's taking that money from us and from us taxpayers, and she's funneling it. And she, of course, her people, because her people elected her to the position that she's in. So they're like, you can't be held accountable. You could do whatever you want. Like, look at Nancy Pelosi. You could do anything you want. You could just make millions upon millions of dollars and just never be questioned how the fuck you made this money, and with a salary of like thousands of dollars, say $100,000. I think it's like $100,000 salary, and you come up with $30 million. Like, I don't know, man. I think all this insider trading and all this bullshit is just freaking rapid, and it's just they need to figure something out, because these politicians, they don't really care about us. These congressmen and women, they don't care. Once they get up there to the top, they're gonna do whatever the hell they want, and they're gonna take advantage of the opportunity, and they know they can't be held accountable. They'll get the little. That's it. That's all the accountability that they're used to. But this time, I hope Trump restructure the whole system and fix it to a point that no more games, no more stealing, no more fraud. Like, I believe all that money should be refunded to us. All the money that's been gone, because there's I'm pretty sure, like, the money that we owe, like, how we owe like trillions and trillions of dollars and so forth. I think more than half of that is gone because of fraud. I kid you not. Maybe more than half. Maybe more. That was all this time like fraud, wreaking rapid, like throughout the whole country. And now it's getting its highlight, and now they're caught, and they're like, oh, they're getting caught. And the thing is that this is all throughout the country. This fraud runs in all 50 states. Every single state has fraud. All right, let's keep it moving. We got this news feed here I want to see. Out of here, out of Connecticut.
At 5, a battle in the courtroom today. Prosecutors say a man charged with murder in the Jacqueline Torres case could have saved the 11-year-old's life, but instead chose to cover up her death.
Also on the stand,
then he deserves to be in jail for the rest of his life.
To be Jacqueline on a video call with state social
That's not
workers.
gonna save him.
Your reporter Owen Kingsley is live tonight.
He could have called
with
the
new
cops.
details.
He didn't. So, you know what?
Well, guys, the judge seemed prepared to make a decision on Jonathan Nanita's role in the murder, but ultimately deciding to take some time and review all of the evidence. The defense is arguing that Jacqueline's mother, Carla Garcia, is solely responsible. The state claims Nanita helped hide the abuse that led to
he
her
moved
death.
the body. He moved the
Jacqueline
body.
Torres, known to her
Hello?
friends and family as Mimi, was 11
If he
when
knew,
she starved to
then
death.
why
Her body
in a
found
whole
in a
year he
bin
didn't say
by an
nothing?
abandoned building.
Come on, man.
This
Shut the
defendant
fuck up.
lived with Mimi Torres. He had access to Mimi Torres. His palm print was located on the exterior of the bin in which her body was stored and then dumped.
Today, state prosecutors claim Jonathan Nanita, the ex-boyfriend of Mimi's mother, had opportunities to save her. Instead, they say he lied to police and covered up her abuse and starvation when a social worker visited their home in Farmington.
Yeah.
Did Mr. Nanita ever indicate to you that
He's lucky they don't have the death penalty.
Jacqueline, the oldest daughter, was missing?
No,
Did he ever indicate to you that she was being physically abused?
no.
That social worker, Shayna Hargrove, video chatted with who she thought was Jacqueline. It turned out to be a 21-year-old woman who testified that Jacqueline's mother, Carla Garcia, asked her to impersonate her daughter on the call. Hargrove says she was told by Carla that Jacqueline was with her aunt in Virginia, months after police believe she had already died.
I sent a Microsoft Teams link to have a virtual contact.
And the person you sent that to, that contact information provided to you by who?
By this aunt, who I thought was the aunt.
Okay. Did you interview the person you were told was Jacqueline?
Yes,
And did you close out your investigation shortly thereafter?
yes.
So the fact that he didn't come clean with the police, that he didn't tell DCF what was going on, again, shows that he was part of this conspiracy.
Nanita's defense says his inaction was a moral issue, not a legal one, arguing that his murder charge should be dropped.
Are you kidding me? Nah, I don't think so. You're stupid.
Defeat her daughter. Her failure to do so makes her responsible for her daughter's death.
No, he's responsible too. He knew.
Nanita never took the stand during this hearing. Today would have been Jacqueline's 13th birthday. Now, coming up at 6, another witness today taking the stand, an official with Farmington Public Schools, part of another critical argument from the state to keep Nanita's murder charge. Your reporter, live in Torrington, I'm Owen Kingsley, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Owen, thank you. Right.
That pisses me off, man. That just pisses me off. Let's keep it moving with some Melody King.
Breaking. The U.S. is now actively working to split Canada apart. The Trump administration has held covert meetings with separatists in Alberta, Canada. Guys, I have a lot to tell you about with this, but it looks like possibly now there's a whole process. There's a whole lot of things to go with this. But if you don't know, Alberta is currently voting to split completely from Canada. They are done with it. And I want to show you a couple things because if you want to know the difference, okay, outside of like two major cities, especially Ottawa, this is the difference. This is the cultural difference. That's Canada on the left. That's Alberta on the right.
Mhm.
Okay. So you can almost think of it like kind of like blue city versus or red state versus blue state. This is kind of where this is. They are much more conservative.
Wow.
They do a lot of farming. They have a lot of oil. I mean, in fact, they're very resource rich. Let me show you this one. Look at this. It says, let's face it, Canada would be cooked without Alberta. Canada needs Alberta way more than Alberta needs Canada. Why am I saying Alberta? I can't speak today. Okay, so this just shows you.
Wow.
These are the different provinces in Canada, and Alberta is the winner chicken dinner. But I actually have something more. And then, guys, I got to show. They are outraged about Trump secretly meeting with the Albertans who are trying to separate. I think this is. I don't know if Alberta is going to become a state, but it looks like they could be an independent province that
would be very big for the United States.
Militarily protected by the United States. I could see something like that happening, or possibly they could become a state. And I'm talking about fast, guys. There's a lot to catch you up on. Like I said, there is a lot to get to with this, but this video is going to help break down what the economy is there in Alberta and why
I think I would live in
completely
Alberta.
Collapse Canada if they decide to leave, if they actually vote. And it looks
That'd be
like that is
wild.
happening literally
in another
right
life.
now.
Alberta threatens Canada's economy with referendum on independence on November 16th.
But if I
in
was
2024, Alberta's economy grew 2.7%, with a
Alberta's
GDP
beautiful.
about $353 billion, and its GDP per capita topping $71,600. If Alberta splits, Canada loses a powerhouse. Federal revenues from oil, natural gas, and resource royalties dry up. Canada's GDP growth slumps, debt burden spreads, and provinces scramble to fill the gap.
As the whole country.
Meanwhile, Alberta must build everything defense, currency, trade deals while losing scale and facing volatility. Separation is economic fire. Do you think Alberta would survive solo, or would Canada collapse first?
And just to give you an idea, if you don't know where
Wow,
Alberta
look at
is
that.
or how huge it is, now there's a little map distortion sometimes, but either way, it is a
Wow.
very huge place. But it's not just about the landmass, of course. It is about their economy. It is the best in
Resources, the
Canada, and it is
economy,
propping up their
the people.
entire system. Without Alberta, Canada's economy will collapse. And this is why
If
Mark
they want to be
Carney made the
American,
deal with China.
oh,
Then he came back and said, after we were going to put 100% tariffs on them, he said we didn't. And now they're saying they do. And just today, in fact, I'll pull it up and show you. Now Canadians, because of this deal that they came up with, well, Canadians don't have to apply for visas if they're going to go to China for less than 30 days. That is pretty wild to do. Okay, so we got to see how this shakes up, because he said that they weren't doing the deal, but clearly they are. And honestly, if Alberta leaves, they have no leverage. They have absolutely no leverage. So they have to go towards China. Like, guys, and you think the US is going to allow China to be in our back door? Absolutely not. But this is Mark Carney, who confirmed that Canada entered a new trade agreement with China. Now, this just came out, guys, at 10:22 today in the morning. This is after Mark Carney told the U.S. we did not. We only removed some tariffs. Hopefully, the U.S. doesn't watch Canadian news. I'm not going to play that whole thing because it's boring. But this is the thing that has everybody, I guess, in a terror right now. So let me show you this. I was going to read the article, but it is so biased and so, like, every article I tried to find, it was just, they're calling them all far right extremist groups, separatists want to separate from Canada. And what I'm about to show you after this, no, it's pretty much the majority of Alberta wants to leave. I mean, they are lining up for days at a time to make sure their voices are heard. So this isn't some fringe thing, guys. This is what has Canada and the Liberals. They're very, very panicked because Mark Carney, if you don't know, his home is in the U.S. His wife and children live in the U.S. He literally didn't even live in Canada. And then now he's the prime minister, because we know at the WEF, we know they said that they selected Trudeau. They select leaders. They're not elected. And he was just propped up just magically. It's just really random how that worked, right? So you just have to really understand that mindset. And that's why I wanted to give you that. But it says Financial Times is reporting that Alberta separatists have met Trump officials 3 times and are seeking a $500 billion credit facility from the U.S. Treasury to help bankroll the province if an independence referendum. I'm sorry, this thing is hiding this. Sorry. Yeah, an independence referendum yet to be called is passed. Okay.
Calling to make Canada the 51st state, and a group in Alberta is apparently on board. Jeffrey Rath is leading that group, a lawyer from Alberta. He has that delegation behind him. Jeff, how big is your delegation? Tell me the feeling you are for joining America.
Hundreds of Albertans that are reaching out and volunteering to join our delegation. Right now, our group is very small. It's a steering committee of people that are looking to come to Washington on an exploratory basis and meet with a representative appointed by President Trump to explore the benefits of either Alberta becoming an independent sovereign nation with economic union to the United States, becoming a U.S. territory, or pursuing full statehood.
How is Canada,
those are our goals.
How has Canada lost their way? How has Canada lost their way that makes you think you got to join us?
Trudeau and Carney, are all wringing their hands over the tariffs. They're going to be kicking Albertans in the teeth and bringing in a 21% carbon tax increase in April. This is, the carbon tax itself is just an insult to hardworking Albertans that can't afford to heat their homes and can't afford diesel and gas for their cars and trucks to go to work. That's a big part of why it is that people in Alberta are fed up with being governed by idiotic politicians from Quebec and Ontario that do not understand our province and do not understand that culturally we're far more closely affiliated with our friends to the south in Montana than we are with all of the people in Ottawa wringing their hands over the smell of diesel exhaust when people from Alberta come to protest how badly we're being treated by Ottawa.
What's your message to Donald Trump? 10 seconds.
10 seconds. Greenland self-determination. Please support Alberta self-determination. You promised that to Alberta in the same way you promised it to Greenland. We'll be an excellent partner to the United States, and we'll all prosper.
All right, let's see how big your delegation gets, Jeff, how many calls you get, and maybe, Jeff, you will be governor of our 51st state when it's all said and done.
Wow.
Now, this was from March of last year, guys, right? So this is when they're forming it. And they said that they're going to be meeting with the White House, with Trump. So all this, it's treasonous. How could they do it? Guys, I told you, it's all performative. And while that this has already been a movement for quite some time. But as far as he was talking about a delegation, let me show you this. I meant to show you this. And then I got one more thing.
It's just, I don't understand why you have to be the part like so divided. You know what I mean?
Sorry.
Like,
it says independence is going viral on X. Rise of Alberta added 30,000 followers in 48 hours. The conversation is breaking out far beyond Alberta, and the world is watching this independence movement grow and take form in real time. So just like, you know, Trump wanted Greenland, he wants Canada, and I believe it's going to happen. Now, like I said, this just broke. And so Canadian officials are so upset, calling it treasonous that Alberta met with Trump secretly, because they just found out when we did.
I'd like to just take and pause a moment. I read an article last night in the Financial Times about a group of people from Alberta, I won't describe them as Albertans, who went to the White House seeking the assistance of the United States to break up our country. Now, I understand the desire to hold a referendum, to talk about the issues you want to talk about in Canada. We got free speech, that's important. But to go to a foreign country and to ask for assistance in breaking up Canada, there's an old-fashioned word for that, and that word is treason. It is completely inappropriate to seek to weaken Canada, to seek to go and ask for assistance to break up this country from a foreign power. And with respect, a president who has not been particularly respectful of Canada's sovereignty. I'm going to be raising that issue at this table. I think that while we can respect the right of any Canadian to express themselves, to vote in a referendum, I think we need to draw the line at people seeking the assistance of foreign countries to break up this beautiful land of ours that our forefathers, our foremothers, our parents, our grandparents fought for. You know, there is a line. And especially at this time when all Canadians have to pull together, I think we can speak as one voice about conduct like that.
What? There was a whole lot of whining, shakiness. We can talk about this kind of, it was like a scolding from like a principal. Remember like Bueller, if you're old enough to remember that. It was, that's what I said, these European, these other countries, these leaders are just so, I don't know, anemic, like just, I don't know. But in all of that he said, did he say it was illegal? He called it treasonous, but it's not a crime. They just don't like it. Why wouldn't they talk to the U.S. if they're going to annex themselves? If they don't want to be part of Canada, they're going to need a partner. And that from like, so you see, you have to pay attention to these people because they are very weak. I think it's all a show. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of movement, and this is another reason why.
Calgarians are heading inside, ready to sign a petition. They want a referendum focused on Alberta becoming an independent state and leaving Canada.
I love Canada, don't get me wrong, but I'm an Albertan. I love Alberta. I just feel like with us having the freedom, we can live under Alberta rule and just take care of ourselves.
We just need our voices to be heard. We've been
That's why they want to get with the United States, because they don't want to be landlocked.
I guess it's about time.
You know,
on stage, the proponents of the petition touched on topics like equalization payments, immigration, and federal spending.
The United States and Canada. They'd rather become a state of the United States.
According to security on site, more than 3,000 people attended. Organizers need 177,000 signatures for the petition to move forward. They have until May 2nd.
People in Calgary came out today to show their support for a referendum on separating from Canada.
Wow. For people coming here in Calgary to sign
the referendum are sending a message saying,
wow,
our voice needs to be heard. You have to, we're part of Canada, and you have to listen to what we're saying.
Hundreds lined up to sign the petition
Wow.
from Stay Free Alberta, which must now collect more than 177,000 signatures by May the 2nd for the process to go any further.
Now, I'm not going to play this video, but I just wanted to have it in the background as we wrap this up, because it's not just in Calgary. They have been voting by the thousands all over Alberta. And I don't see them having any problem smashing through that 177,000 by May 2nd. Like,
oh my God.
They're going to probably have it in just a few days. So I will keep my eyes on it. Let me know what you think. Make sure you're subscribed and hit the notification bell. And yeah, I will see you on the next one.
Nice, man. That was awesome. Great upload. But yeah, things are gonna get a little wild. You know, the world is setting up for something big to happen. Will it happen? I mean, listen, I've been feeling weird. Like the energy has been making me a little bit sick. And I've been having like this head problems, like my head pains again. And it just hasn't been good for me for the past few days, but I'm trying to do what I can with what I got. And let me set up the next feed here. We're going to be watching a series of 4 here, a back to back of Tyson De La Cruz. And then we're going to wrap it up for the night because I want to get to bed a little early. All right, guys, here we go.
Meta.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
America, I need you to see what's happening in Minnesota right now, because this is beyond a parody. White liberals are literally buying bulletproof vests and gas masks so they can obstruct federal immigration enforcement. They're picking up flashbangs with their bare hands. They're running into pepper spray. And they're all doing this to protect criminal illegal immigrants who've been stealing from American taxpayers for years.
I just searched for a bulletproof vest. I spent a year wearing one in Baghdad. And here I am 20 years later because my government wants to kill me.
But here's what they're not telling you. President Trump is sending Tom Homan, Obama's former ICE director who deported over 3 million people, directly to Minnesota to manage operations on the ground. This is the same Tom Homan that Barack Hussein Obama gave a medal to, and now the media is acting like he's running concentration camps. What is up, guys? Tyson De La Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. I have never, ever seen in my entire life people wanting to be quote unquote seen, people wanting to be seen and be part of some type of resistance more than I'm seeing white liberals wanting to be seen right now. And I'm going to show you exactly how insane this has gotten. Let me start with this woman who just went viral. She's a self-described middle-aged swim mom who just bought a bulletproof vest because she wants to obstruct ICE operations in her city.
I spent a year wearing one in Baghdad. And here I am 20 years later because my government wants to kill me.
Hold on, let me get this straight. You wore a bulletproof vest in Baghdad as a soldier, and now you think you need one as an American because ICE is deporting criminal illegal aliens. Bro, why do you need a bulletproof vest? What are you doing on the daily that requires body armor? This means you are going out looking for trouble. You are not accidentally running into ICE operations. You are hunting them down.
I'm starting to make a list of things that I need to purchase to prepare for what is inevitable. Let me know what's on your list.
She's making a list and checking it twice like she's Santa Claus. Preparing for war. Preparing for war against who? Federal agents trying to remove violent criminals from American streets? This is what we're dealing with. And check this other woman out who's walking around Minneapolis with goggles and a gas mask.
I am walking around with a gas mask in my purse just in case I run into ICE.
No, no, no,
What
no,
the
no, no.
hell?
You are not running into ICE. You are running towards ICE. There is a big difference here. Why are you
Mhm.
walking around with goggles? This means you're out here looking for
You're
trouble.
anticipating
You're
it.
actively seeking out confrontations with federal law enforcement. There is absolutely no way in the world that I'm putting my life on the line for illegal criminal immigrants. You will not catch me trying to protect some Somalians who've been stealing from taxpayers. No. Not happening. Now, let me show you what happens when these quote unquote peaceful protesters actually find the trouble that they're looking for.
Meta.
Oh my god.
Oh my god,
Oh
look
my
at
god.
what the hell?
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
This absolute genius Einstein of a person thought it was a good
Oh.
idea to pick up an active flashbang with their bare hands. A flashbang. These things burn at over 3,000 degrees. And this person just grabbed it like it was a lost wallet. This is the level of intelligence that we're dealing with. These are people who are out here resisting federal immigration enforcement. They don't know what a flashbang does. They don't understand basic physics, but they're absolutely certain that ICE agents are the bad people. And guys, you know what? I don't feel bad for this person at all. I don't feel bad for them one little bit. You want to obstruct federal law enforcement? You want to interfere with the arrests of violent criminals? You want to pick up military grade equipment with your bare hands? Well, congratulations. Congratulations. You won a stupid prize for playing a stupid game. And here's where this story gets really good. President Trump just announced that he's sending Tom Homan directly into Minnesota to manage ICE operations on the ground, reporting to Donald Trump directly.
6% decline. 96% less people are coming. How many women aren't being raped? How many children aren't dying making that journey? How many women and children aren't being sex trafficked into this country every day? How many known suspected terrorists aren't just walking across that border? President Trump and this administration is saving thousands of lives every month.
Listen to those numbers, a 96% decline in people crossing the border. But obviously the lamestream media doesn't want you to hear that. They want you to think that Tom Homan, ICE, DHS is some kind of monsters. So let me remind you of something that they're desperately trying to hide.
This is a Washington Post headline from 9 years ago, 2016. Meet the man the White House has honored for deporting illegal immigrants. And I would remind everyone in this room that it was former President Barack Hussein Obama who awarded a medal to Mr. Homan. So
Barack Hussein Obama gave Tom Homan, yes, the same person that's going into Minnesota, a medal for his work on immigration enforcement. The Washington Post wrote a glowing article about him in 2016. Meet the man the White House has honored for deporting illegal immigrants. So let me get this straight. When Obama's ICE director deports people, he gets a medal and praised from the Washington Post. But when Trump sends that exact same guy, the same person, to do the exact same job, suddenly he's running concentration camps.
he's obviously very qualified. He has the full trust and faith of the president. He will continue to have these meetings in the hopes that ICE and local law enforcement can cooperate and work together.
Now here's a little soundbite you can send your liberal friends. Let's talk about Obama's deportation record for a second, because this is obviously very important. During the first two terms in office from 2009 to 2017, the Obama administration removed and deported between 2.5 and 3 million people. This is how Obama got the nickname Deporter in Chief. Where were the protests? Where were the white liberals with bulletproof vests? Where were the people trying to pick up flashbangs? They were nowhere, absolutely nowhere. It was a ghost town because the media told you that Obama was a good guy.
Our city has been invaded by masked gunmen, kidnapping family members and friends and neighbors of ours to send them to concentration camps.
Concentration camps. He actually said concentration camps. And watch what Jake Tapper does.
I'm not here to defend ICE, but I'm not a big fan of people using the term concentration camp to describe detention camps. That has a very specific meaning in terms
Well,
of.
I understand that, but they take people to Fort Snelling here, which literally was built as a concentration camp, and Alligator Alcatraz, which I think we can all agree is a concentration camp. Not saying they're Dachau. I'm not saying they're putting people in ovens yet.
I'm not saying they're putting people in ovens yet. Are you kidding me? Even Jake Tapper, who's no friend to Trump, had to cut off this guy. That is how insane the rhetoric has gotten.
How does this hurt ICE? It seems to me it hurts you and it hurts your customers.
And Tapper makes a great point here. You're closing your business to protest ICE. How does that hurt ICE? It doesn't. It hurts you. It hurts your employees. It hurts your customers, but you get to feel good about yourself. So I guess that's what really matters.
I can't leave my house and drive to work or go to the grocery store without seeing people being asked for their papers at the gas station, people being grabbed off the sidewalk at bus stops.
I said it before and I'll say it again. This is all a distraction. Timmy Tampon Walz and his administration are probably happy about this particular situation because it takes the heat off the fraud. Minnesota is the fraud capital of America, and they need the chaos. They need this to cover it up so you stop talking about it. Now let's talk about Alex Preddy, because this is the case that they're using to justify all this insanity.
I am on the ground in Minneapolis right now, and about 2 hours ago, he shot and killed a man.
An ICU nurse, a rapid responder, a human being. That's how they're describing him in the media. What they're not telling you is how he showed up to obstruct federal law enforcement operations with a loaded 9mm handgun, which is obviously his right, and 2 full magazines.
We're your neighbors. And it hit so hard because I just had a moment of realization, like, people live among us. I'm like, these people get to clock in, put on a mask, and terrorize our communities, and then go home.
These people get to clock in, put on masks, and terrorize their community. No, these people are federal agents removing violent criminals from American streets. That's not terrorism. That's law enforcement.
I am so angry. I am so angry. I am walking around with
What the hell is wrong with her?
just because, in case they gas us.
You are so angry that you're walking around with the gas mask in your purse or around your neck, just in case you run into ICE. Again, you're not running into ICE. You're running towards ICE. You're seeking out confrontations. You're looking for trouble. And if you find it, somebody gets hurt, and then everybody acts shocked. You act like this is some kind of police state. You created the situation. You and the people like you think it's heroic to obstruct federal law enforcement. Now, let me tell you what's really happening here, because this is something that the media won't touch.
Governor Tim Walz called me with the request to work together with respect to Minnesota. It was a very good call, and we actually seem to be on a similar wavelength.
Trump says that he had a good call with Timmy Tampon Walz, and they're supposed to be working together now. But here's what I want you to know. Where was this cooperation 3 weeks ago? Where was this cooperation when ICE agents were being surrounded and threatened?
President Trump announcing just a couple of hours ago he's sending border czar Tom Homan to run operations in Minnesota, reporting directly to him.
Trump is sending Tom Homan to Minnesota because Walz can't obviously be trusted. He's sending him there to bypass the local government entirety. That's how bad and crazy this situation has gotten. But here's what nobody's talking about. Minnesota is the fraud capital of the United States. Billions and billions of taxpayer money has been stolen through fraudulent programs. And Tim Walz was in charge when
California has a
obviously most
lot
this
of
was
fucking
happening.
fraud,
Nothing
and New
legitimate,
York. Holy
but the
shit, New
president has been
York.
clear.
But red states also have fraud
He's been
too.
clear. He's going to. We didn't vote for him.
Listen to Keith Ilson. This is retribution. We didn't vote for him. No, this is law enforcement. You have 60,000 open immigrant cases. You have 5,000 known criminals running around your state. That, my friends, is not retribution. That is a crisis. Now, let me tell you who the real victims are in this, because it's not the protesters in the body armor.
Every business person whose business has been shuttered because of this, on behalf of every student and every parent who can't get their kids to school.
You know what's funny? Keith admits businesses are being shuttered, students can't go to school, parents are afraid, but he blames ICE for this. He doesn't blame the protesters, the leadership, the people blocking the streets, the people who created this chaos, the lamestream media. He doesn't blame the criminals who created this situation in the first place.
Business is down everywhere in the city, especially in our neighborhood where ICE and Customs and Border Patrol have been extremely active. People are afraid to go shopping, afraid to go work, afraid to go outside.
Business is down. People are afraid to go outside, but not solely just because of ICE, because of the chaos created by protesters who think they're heroes for obstructing federal law enforcement. The real victims are the law-abiding American citizens, the law-abiding business owners who are losing money because of these crazy protests, the taxpayers who have been funding fraud for years while their own communities fall apart. America, here's what I need you to understand about what's happening in Minnesota. This isn't about immigration enforcement anymore. This isn't about police brutality. This isn't even about Alex Preddy. This is about the white liberals and the lamestream media who have nothing better to do than cosplay as revolutionaries. They're buying bulletproof vests. They're carrying gas masks. They're picking up flashbangs with their bare hands, all so that they can feel part of some grand resistance movement. But they're not resisting tyranny. They're protecting criminals. They're obstructing justice, and they're providing cover for one of the most corrupt governments in America. Tom Homan, the same man Barack Hussein Obama gave a medal to for deporting millions of people, is now being sent to Minnesota to do the job that Tim Walz refuses to do. And the media is acting like this is some kind of authoritarian crackdown. The pattern here is crystal clear. Create chaos, obstruct federal law enforcement, protect criminal illegal immigrants, and then when somebody gets hurt, blame Trump. It's the same playbook, the same tired, dusty playbook we've been seeing for years, and they're not even trying to hide it anymore. Minnesota isn't a resistance movement. It's a distraction. And the sooner people realize that, the sooner we can actually fix the problem. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.
We're going to go straight to the next one. So here we go. Let's jump over to the next one.
Another killing of a nonviolent bystander by ICE agents in Minneapolis.
America, MS Now just got caught red-handed using AI to alter a dead man's face on national television. They took Alex Preddy, the man who was shot in Minneapolis, and made him look more attractive, so you would feel potentially more sympathetic for him. This is psychological warfare disguised as news media. But here's the kicker. They did all this while telling you not to believe your own eyes and ears about Trump. And this isn't the first time. Remember when CNN made Joe Rogan look like a dead corpse during C-19?
Turns out I got COVID. Look, they put a
So
yellow
we
filter on me
immediately
through the kitchen sink at it. All
They
kinds
did.
of mess.
Same playbook, different target, same manipulation. What is up, guys? Tyson Dela Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. I'm about to expose exactly how the media uses visual manipulation to rig and trigger your particular emotions and why they're doing it right now in Minneapolis. Hey, what is up, guys? We just got done editing this MSNBC altered footage of Alex Preddy, and there's been some new footage that just got released. So I'm going to insert it into this video here. So it's going to be a little out of context, but it is footage about 11 days prior to Alex Preddy getting shot, and it shows him being absolutely violent with DHS officers. Let me know your guys' thoughts about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below.
This is a moment the news movement filmed on January 13th in Minneapolis, showing a man who appears to be Alex Preddy interacting with federal immigration agents 11 days before Border Patrol shot and killed him. Our footage was analyzed by the BBC, whose facial recognition technology confirmed his identity to a 97% degree of accuracy. On the morning of January 13th, our team received a tip that federal agents were blocking a street at the corner of East 36 and Park Avenue in Minneapolis. We arrived around 10:15 a.m. We saw observers shouting at the agents as they walked back to their vehicles. When they started driving away, the man kicked their taillight. An agent then got out of the vehicle, grabbed him, and pushed him to the ground. During the altercation, agents fired tear gas and pepper balls into the crowd. They continued to hold the man down before they retreat, and he walks away. The man in our footage is wearing a similar outfit to what Preddy was wearing on the day he was killed. What appears to be a gun is also visible above his waistband.
Let me show you exactly what MS Now did. Once you see it, once you see it, you cannot unsee it.
Another killing of a nonviolent bystander by ICE agents in Minneapolis. This time it was 37-year-old Alex Preddy, an ICU nurse who cared for veterans.
Look at the differences. They shortened homie's chin, softened his features more refined. They didn't just use a different photo. They used AI to make him look more attractive. Why do they do this? Because of something called the halo effect. When someone is physically more attractive, your brain unconsciously assigns them to positive traits. We're talking about kindness. We're talking about honesty, innocence. You're more likely to sympathize with them, believe their version of the events, and assume that they're the victim.
Donald Trump and his cabinet, his administration, are demanding once again that you not believe your eyes and ears. Fortunately, for the sake of our country and our democracy, Americans in large numbers today are choosing to reject Donald Trump's lies.
They're stacking the manipulation, attractive AI-enhanced image, emotional language about caring for veterans, omitting the fact that he was armed with a loaded weapon with multiple magazines. This, my friends, is propaganda 101. Now, let me show you why this matters, because this is a pattern. It is a pattern that keeps on happening. It is not an accident.
You see the original video versus that? I look like shit there.
Remember this? CNN took Joe Rogan's video announcing that he had C19 and made him look sicker. They put a yellow filter on him, desaturated colors, made him look like he was dying. Why? Because he was talking about ivermectin, and they needed you to think that it was a terrible decision.
Good. Pause. It's enough. Prednisone. That's enough, Jimmy.
Same tactic, different direction. With Rogan, they made him look worse. With Alex Preddy, they made him look better to generate sympathy. But both are manipulation designed to control how you feel instead of letting you actually think. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. While MS Now, BS Now, whatever you want to call it, is photoshopping dead protesters, investigative journalist Cam Higbee just infiltrated the actual protest coordination networks in Minneapolis. Shout out to Cam Higbee, by the way, because he's been doing some phenomenal work
in Minneapolis, actively collecting information on ICE whereabouts, telegraphing it to protesters, asking people to come and back them up, including outside of the donut shop, where Alex Preddy got involved in trying to film or take video of the Border Patrol arrest that was going down and ended up dead.
Check this out. They're actively tracking ICE agents' locations in real time using spreadsheets, airtables, whatever this is, telegraphing movements to protesters, calling for backup at specific locations. Again, we've talked about this a series of times on this particular channel. This is not spontaneous resistance. This is coordinated obstruction.
Backup needed at Black Forest Inn parking lot on Nicollet Avenue. Urgent. Observers urgently requested at Glam Doll Donuts. That's where the Preddy incident went down. Observer has been shot by ICE, unknown condition. EMTs present, please be safe.
Look at the messages. Backup needed, urgent observer requests. Observers have been shot by ICE. They're mobilizing people to interfere with federal law enforcement operations. And when somebody gets hurt, they act shocked about this whole situation.
These groups, which are conspiring, I think, to obstruct federal law enforcement, that is a crime. They are contributing to, I think, unfortunately, the rise in violence you're seeing in Minneapolis.
This is conspiracy to obstruct federal law enforcement. Obviously, it's illegal, and the FBI is now actively investigating who's funding these operations. We have a little bit of an idea of who's funding these protests. If you haven't seen that video, I'll place it somewhere on the link above and in the description down below. We go into more detail about it. Kash Patel already confirmed that this investigation is happening. Now, while MS Now, BS Now is photoshopping victims and protesters are coordinating obstruction, something unexpected, absolutely crazy is happening. Democrat Senator John Fetterman has been torching his own party specifically over this.
In any jurisdiction, if they are in custody of any criminal migrants, absolutely turn them over to ICE so they can deport them 100%.
Fetterman said what most Democrats won't. If you are a criminal migrant in custody, turn them over to ICE for deportation. 100%. No exceptions, no mas.
I was very disappointed with Governor Walz referred to ICE as Gestapo and those things. Don't ever, ever, ever compare anybody to Nazis.
ICE has a job to do. You can disagree with tactics, but they are not Gestapo.
What happened in Minneapolis, I described this in my statement, that's become an ungovernable and a dangerous urban theater for law enforcement, for citizens and agents.
Fetterman called out Minneapolis as an ungovernable and dangerous urban theater for law enforcement, citizens, and agents. That is a Democrat senator admitting that his party and the party's media partners created this chaos. And he is absolutely right about that. Now, while all this has been happening, President Trump just did an interview in Iowa where he addressed the Minneapolis situation directly.
Bovino is very good, but he's a pretty out there kind of a guy. And in some cases, that's good. Maybe it wasn't good here.
Trump's making it clear this isn't a pullback from Minnesota and Minneapolis. It is a tactical adjustment. Bovino is good at what he does, but sometimes you need to make adjustments on your particular approach. This is not weakness. This is strategy.
These are paid insurrectionists.
And Trump called it exactly what it is: paid insurrectionists and paid aggregators, not concerned citizens, not peaceful protesters, paid operatives creating chaos.
It's hard to believe that's the same guy I watch on television, or I watch in the debate not doing so well, or because we had a very reasonable conversation, very good conversation. If you believe the conversation, he'd like to get this thing over with.
And check this out. Trump revealed that Timmy Tampon Walz is completely different in private. Reasonable, cooperative, wants to get things resolved, but in public, he calls ICE agents Gestapos and Nazis, and comparing the situation in Minneapolis to the Holocaust. Two-faced Timmy Tampon is what we're dealing with, and Walz knows Trump is right about the entire situation. He knows these operations are necessary, but he can't say that publicly because it affects his base. The base that he's been pandering to for years. Now, let me connect the dots because this is the pattern that they don't want you to see. MS Now photoshops a dead man to make him look more attractive, so you sympathize with him instead of asking why he brought a loaded weapon to a federal law enforcement operation. Coordinated networks track ICE agents in real time and mobilize protests to obstruct federal law enforcement operations, which the FBI is now investigating as criminal conspiracy.
Quit. Walk away. Do it now before you shoot in the face another mom of three.
Democrat politicians like Eric I banged a Chinese spy Schwawell are telling ICE agents to quit their job before they shoot another mom of three, even though the woman that he's referring to in that particular situation drove a vehicle into a federal agent.
This ICE is unworkable and it needs to be completely crushed and reshaped.
They want federal immigration enforcement dismantled, and they're
They
using
do that with
Photoshop
Obama.
images, coordinated obstruction, and emotional manipulation to
What
make
the
it
hell?
happen. But obviously,
How do
here's
you
what they
turn
didn't
from a
count
dweeb
on, and
to
what they're not
entering
showing
into the
actively.
Spider-Man?
Democrats like John Fetterman
Remember
breaking the
Spider-Man?
ranks
He was
and
like
actually telling
a
the truth
dweeb,
about the situation. Trump
and then he got
adjusting
bit,
tactics
and all of
without
a sudden he
backing
turned
down,
into
and
like
the FBI
a hunk.
investigating the coordinated networks funding this particular chaos. America, here's what you need to understand. When MS Now has to Photoshop a dead man's face to generate sympathy, they've already lost the argument. When they have to use AI to make somebody look more attractive because the facts don't support their particular narrative, they're admitting the truth doesn't work for them. The same media that made Joe Rogan look sick to discredit him is now making Alex Preddy look more attractive to manipulate you. It's the same playbook: visual manipulation designed to bypass your logic and trigger your emotions. But the coordination networks are being exposed. The FBI is investigating. Democrats like Fetterman are breaking ranks, and Trump is adjusting tactics without backing down. The pattern here, folks, is clear: create chaos, manipulate images, coordinate obstruction, and when all else falls apart, blame Trump. But Americans, most Americans like yourself, are seeing through the bullcrap. The Photoshop images of a dead protester proves that they're desperate, and their desperation means that they're losing. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.
Crazy stories. Let's keep it moving. We got another one of Tyson De La Cruz.
America, just as the Department of Justice starts an investigation on Ilhan Umar's mysterious $44 million multi-million-dollar fortune. Some guy rushes at her at a town hall and sprays her with, I don't know, something. It looks completely staged to me. If somebody sprayed you with some type of unknown substance, would you immediately go back to the microphone and finish your speech? It could be acid, it could be anything, but she doesn't even hesitate. She just walks back up there like nothing even happened.
Worth more than $44 million. Time will tell all.
Of course, they'll try to frame this as an attack on Somalis. Same tired playbook, convenient timing when Trump just ordered investigations into how she went leaving Somalia with not a dollar, nothing, zero, to being worth $44 million.
Wow.
What is up, guys? Tyson Dela Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. I'm going to break down why this attack looks so suspicious, what the DOJ is really investigating, and how Omar's husband's company went from worthless, zero, to $30 million overnight. Let me walk you through what happened at this Minneapolis town hall, because the more that you look at it, the more questions you have. A man rushes on stage with his arms extended, sprays something through a syringe at Ilhan Omar, and immediately gets tackled. Security was right there, almost like that they were expecting something to happen. Now watch this part very, very carefully. After getting sprayed with some type of unknown substance, Ilhan Omar walks towards the man like she's going to do something. Then she immediately returns to the podium to finish her speech. No medical check, no concern about what she was sprayed with, just right back to talking. I got to tell you guys, if somebody sprayed me with something out of a syringe, I am not finishing my speech.
Shit, the hospital.
It's just what it is. It could be acid, it could be a chemical weapon,
Yeah.
it could be anything. But
where's the
Ilhan
police?
Omar acts like somebody just threw water on her.
I'm okay. I'm a survivor.
Wait, the
so this
security
small
was there, but
agitator
where
isn't
was the
going to
police?
intimidate me from doing my work. It continues. I don't let bullies win. Grateful to my incredible constituents who rallied behind me. It ends with Minnesota strong.
Very dramatic here, Ilhan Omar. Very theatrical, almost like it was scripted. All jokes aside, I'm glad she didn't get hurt. I don't want anybody to get hurt. But this whole thing looks absolutely staged to me. The timing is a little too perfect. The response seemed a little too rehearsed. And the media coverage is obviously a little too coordinated. Now, let me show you what was happening right before this quote-unquote attack, because that's the real story she doesn't want you to focus on.
President Trump posted on Truth Social, quote, I am sending Tom Homan to Minnesota tonight.
Trump just announced he's sending Tom Homan to Minnesota and launching a major investigation into Ilhan Omar's finances. He's connecting her massive $20 billion welfare fraud scheme in Minnesota, and he's asking some obvious questions. How did she leave Somalia with absolutely nothing to being worth $44 million?
Investigation into Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar after her net worth spiked by nearly $30 million in just a year.
Her net worth nearly spiked $30 million in 1 year. The House Oversight Committee is investigating financial disclosures tied to investment companies owned by her husband, and the numbers are crazy. Her husband's venture capital firm, Rose Lake Capital, was valued at $1,000 in 2023. 1 year later, in 2024, the valuation jumped to $25 million. That's a 25,000% increase in 1 year.
Also in 2023, the California winery was valued at $50,000. By 2024, the valuation increased to $5 million.
That is a 10,000% increase in just 1 year for a winery. Now, I am no financial expert, but I know businesses do not increase value by 10,000 to 25,000% in just a single year unless something very, very unusual happened. What makes this even more interesting, the investigation into Ilhan Omar, didn't start with Trump. It started under Biden, the Joey B administration.
Justice Department initiated an investigation into Congresswoman Omar during the Biden administration in June of 2024 over her, quote, finances, campaign spending, and interactions with a foreign citizen.
That is an absolute bombshell, but obviously the investigation stalled.
House financial disclosures showed it was worth up to $25 million just 2 years later.
Her husband's investment firm had only $4,244 in its bank account as of 2022. 2 years later, House financial disclosures shows it was worth up to $25 million. Where did that money come from?
Same thing with a winery and marijuana farm that he has since abandoned. It also went from less than $1,000 in valuation to $5 million in less than a year.
The House Oversight Committee is now weighing in whether to subpoena Omar and her husband to testify about the business ventures. They want to know if there's a connection between the massive multi-million-dollar fraud scandal in Minneapolis and her family's sudden wealth. So let me ask you this, chat. What are the odds that just as of all these investigations are heating up, just as Trump announces he's sending Homan to Minnesota to investigate fraud, just as the House Oversight Committee is preparing subpoenas, someone random attacks Ilhan Omar at a town hall.
And Minneapolis police arrested the man in that video and booked him into the jail for third-degree assault.
But nobody knows what he sprayed on her. Nobody's saying if it was dangerous. Nobody's explaining how he got close to her, any camera footage, nothing. And now the media narrative shifts from Ilhan Omar under investigation for mysterious $44 million fortune to Ilhan Omar, the Somalian congresswoman attacked at town hall. It's Trump's fault.
Some great people come in. They have to show that they can love our country. They have to be proud. Not like Ilhan Omar.
Trump just gave a speech in Iowa where he went after Ilhan Omar pretty hard, talking about her leaving Somalia with nothing and now being worth millions and millions of dollars. Questions where the money came from, and seemingly the same day she gets attacked at a town hall. Of course, the lamestream media will frame this as an attack on Somalians. Of course, they'll blame Trump's rhetoric. Of course, they'll use this to deflect from the financial investigations. It's the same tired, dusty playbook that they always use. Now let me connect the dots between Omar's mysterious wealth and the massive fraud happening in Minnesota.
Massive $20 billion plus welfare fraud that has taken place in Minnesota and is at least partially responsible for the violent organized protests going on in the streets.
Trump said there's a major investigation into the massive $20 billion plus welfare fraud that has taken place in Minnesota. And it's at and around these areas where these protests and things are happening in Minneapolis and Minnesota. He's connecting Ilhan Omar to this fraud network. Minnesota has become the fraud capital of America. It is actually official. Billions of taxpayer money stolen through fraudulent programs. And Ilhan Omar represents the district where most of the fraud is happening. Her constituents are the ones running the schemes.
Anytime that you mix what I would say is working with a foreign national, funds where we don't necessarily know their whereabouts, there are going to be national security concerns.
Omar has access to classified information. She has security clearance. She sits on committees that deal with sensitive national security matters. If she's taken money from foreign sources or using her position to enrich herself, that's not just corruption. That is a national security threat. I did a full deep dive on the money trail in a previous video. The link for that will be somewhere above. We break down every business, every valuation jump, every suspicious transaction. Check it out after this video because it goes way deeper than what I can cover here. America, here's what you need to understand. Just as the DOJ investigates Ilhan Omar's mysterious $44 million fortune, just as Trump orders investigations into Minnesota's $20 billion fraud scheme, just as the House Oversight Committee prepares for subpoenas for her and her husband, she gets attacked at a town hall. Her husband's companies went from being worth $5,000 to being worth $30 million in just 2 years. Nobody can explain where the money came from. And instead of answering questions about her finances, instead of explaining these suspicious valuations, instead of cooperating with investigations, we're now talking about her being a survivor of an attack where somebody sprayed her with an unknown substance and she immediately went back to giving a speech. The timing here is absolutely absolutely too perfect. The response seems too rehearsed, and the media coverage is way too coordinated. This, my friends, is a distraction from the real story. A sitting member of Congress who left Somalia with nothing is now worth $44 million while representing a district that has become the fraud capital of America. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.
All right, we're gonna go to the next one and the last one of the night, and it's another Tyson De La Cruz. So let's go ahead and jump right to it, and then we'll wrap it up.
That federal agents are serving warrants at Zips sports bar locations.
America, armed federal agents just stormed 15 Zips Sports Grill locations across Phoenix in a coordinated takedown. Employees lined up, evidence bags carried out, protesters screaming within minutes.
We're out here at the Zips on Central and Osborne. This is a big crowd right here. If we can take a look, there are actually some police officers right now in tactical gear addressing the crowd.
But here's what's really wild. If you're eating wings and ICE rolls in with federal warrants, it's pretty obvious they're looking for something specific.
I don't know. They just came in, just like nothing. It's like we're looking for someone. We're looking for something. Someone's making fraud or something.
So why did organized protesters show up instantly to obstruct a federal criminal investigation? What is up, guys? Tyson De La Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. What I'm about to show you is way bigger than what the media is actually reporting on currently. Homeland Security didn't just hit one location in Arizona. They executed simultaneous search warrants at, get this, 15 restaurants across Gilbert, Scottsdale, Tempe, Phoenix, Chandler, and Glendale.
Agents with the Department of Homeland Security are on the ground at some Zip Sports Grill locations all across the valley.
That type of coordination requires months of investigation and a federal judge signing off on a single search warrant.
It is executing search warrants at 15 locations throughout the Phoenix area, and quote, the search warrants were authorized based on information presented to a federal judge and are being executed as part of a criminal investigation into felony violations of federal law.
When federal judges authorize 15 search warrants for felony violations, you're not dealing with just some paperwork issues. You're dealing with organized criminal activity. And this is what these people need to understand. The Department of Justice has made it crystal clear. This is a criminal investigation, not just an immigration sweep.
That they brought a bunch of evidence to a judge. The judge signed off on a warrant and what they're calling a criminal investigation into felony violations of federal law.
They're evaluating the evidence right now for criminal charges. That means arrests are coming.
They entered the business and asked everyone to stop what they were doing and file into the dining room. And everyone did as they were told, is what employees were telling me.
Armed agents walked in and told everybody to stop working, filed them in a dining room. Then the questions started, including immigration status and checks.
So a woman who was inside at the time came out in tears. Of course, I approached her and asked her, hey, were you questioned? What were you doing in there? I see you have a shirt on. Are you an employee? She said yes. She didn't want to give me her name, but she did say, I showed them my papers. They asked me a bunch of questions and they let me go.
Everyone got lined up, IDs checked, documentation requested, and here's the kicker. Investigators walked out carrying bags and bags of evidence.
This is where I was for a good portion of the afternoon before coming to Tempe. We were in Gilbert with that similar situation happening. We saw HSI coming out of the Zips location, and some investigators were holding bags of stuff. But
you don't walk out with bags of evidence if you're just checking for work permits. You're collecting proof of criminal activity. The question here, what were they collecting? And obviously, here's where it gets absolutely insane and out of control. Within minutes of these raids starting, protesters magically materialize at multiple locations, not just random people. These are organized groups with whistles, signs, the plan, the playbook.
Some people started marching around, and then some people, just before we went live, started yelling that there might be federal agents that were coming in.
They're already there. They're already marching. They're already organized. Somebody in their group chat, in their signal chat, whatever kind of chat they got going on, somebody already tipped them off.
This is a big crowd right here. If we can take a look, there are actually some police officers right now in tactical gear addressing the crowd. A lot of people have their cell phones out as well, trying to record everything.
Things got physical. Officers in tactical
Why are
gear
they
had to
interfering,
manage
man?
angry crowds while
Media
executing
is
federal
at fault
warrants.
too,
It
man.
looked like one of the officers pushed one of the people there. I'm not sure what started that confrontation. So it is looking like it got a little bit physical here. It looks like this person in the neon green was the person that was pushed right now.
And at the Tempe location near ASU, it escalated even further.
And people were telling me here at this Tempe location that law enforcement had deployed pepper balls. And when I first got here, it was still something that you could feel in the back of your throat.
Man,
Duh, it is pepper
aging
balls.
myself.
That, my friends, obviously is not peaceful assembly. They're looking to obstruct federal law enforcement, or else pepper balls wouldn't have been deployed.
We have sheriff's deputies that are here outside. They told me that they were called just before, and they are providing scene security.
Think about that. Federal agents needed local law enforcement protection, which should be required anyways, to execute lawful search warrants because these protesters were interfering with justice. Seems like a pattern here, guys. Now, let me connect the dots because this Zips operation is just one piece of a massive enforcement surge happening in Arizona right now. The same day as these raids occurred, federal officials announced 150 people were charged with immigration-related crimes in Arizona within the last week. We're talking about 87 people caught illegally re-entering after deportation, 45 arrested for illegal entry, 17 more, get this, facing smuggling charges.
We obtained what appears to be a copy of a search warrant for at least one of the locations. It's, quote, for the purpose of interrogation and civil administrative arrest of illegal aliens.
5 locations in Phoenix. That is massive. 5 locations in Scottsdale, 2 in Tempe, 1 each in Glendale, Chandler, and Gilbert. Federal agents hit every single one simultaneously. That, my friends, is not random. That is a coordinated strike against an organization-wide operation.
Where we're seeing agents inside Zips. We also have more crews on the way to that area to look into this.
Crime scene tape at multiple locations, federal investigations spanning the entire Phoenix metro area, and of course, protesters trying to shut it down before anybody finds out what they discovered. Let me explain something the protesters don't want you to understand. To get a federal search warrant, investigators present evidence to a federal judge proving probable cause that crimes were committed and evidence exists at specific locations. The judge reviews everything, then decides whether to authorize that specific warrant. In this particular case, investigators convinced a judge to authorize 15 simultaneous warrants. That requires substantial evidence of criminal activity across the entire organization.
And a lot of people, again, with their cell phones out, walking towards them, chanting against the officers, and it looks like they are moving back.
These protesters with their whistles and their signs are not
How
defending
the hell they get
innocent
there so
people.
fast?
They are obstructing a lawful criminal investigation.
Like,
They are
they do.
interfering
They're
with
there with all
federal
their cell
agents
phones.
who
Look at this.
presented evidence to a judge and
You know they're
received
getting paid for
authorization to
this.
search for proof of felony crimes. And here's what kills me about the whole situation. If you're sitting in a Zips location, eating a blue cheese hamburger or some wings, and federal agents just shimmy on through there with federal search warrants, and you're here legally with proper documentation, get this, you have absolutely nothing to worry about. They're not there for you. They are there for specific targets related to a criminal investigation. But protesters want you scared while you're eating your blue cheese bacon cheeseburger. I don't even know if Zip sells that. They want you to think that federal agents are randomly grabbing people. They want chaos because chaos protects whatever's actually being investigated. Now, obviously, here's the question that the media never seems to ask. How did organized protesters with whistles and signs show up at multiple locations within minutes of a federal raid starting?
Officer in full tactical gear right now. Some of them also have their masks on at this moment.
Look at this footage. Officers in full tactical gear, protesters with cell phones recording everything. Obviously, this isn't spontaneous. Someone knew, someone tipped somebody off.
Many people here recording, and like we've said many times, we're hearing the whistles that are blowing. But things do get much more intense as we see those federal agents.
Multiple locations, instant response, coordinated interference. That's not concerned citizens showing up to observe. That's organized obstruction of federal law enforcement. The sheriff said it perfectly. He said people have the right to peacefully assemble, but that doesn't mean you can interfere with law enforcement operations. Cha-ching! Exactly right. You can watch, but you can't obstruct, or else you're getting pepperballed. America, here's the bottom line. Federal investigators build a case strong enough to convince a judge to authorize 15 simultaneous search warrants with felony violations. They execute those warrants, collect evidence, and now they're evaluating everything for criminal charges. Within the next few days, maybe even tomorrow, we're going to find out exactly what's happening at these zip locations. And based on the scale of this operation, 15 locations, coordinated raids, bags of evidence, it's bigger than probably what anybody can expect. The protesters screaming shame on you at federal agents are not defending innocent people. They're trying to obstruct justice before the truth comes out. But it's too much, too late. The evidence is collected. The investigation is moving forward. And whoever's running this operation and whatever is happening, they're going to face federal charges. If you're here legally, you got nothing to worry about. But if you're running a criminal enterprise and you're here illegally, you just ran out of time. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.
Great upload. And the fraud runs deep in this country. It's all over the place. It's like cancer spread all over. Well, that's it for me. That was the last video of the night. I'm tired. I want to get an early jump on sleep tonight. I hope everyone else gets an early jump on sleep too. And I'll be back on here tomorrow, probably with some report and about my expedition searching for Pokemon tomorrow. It's a release day, and for the 30 year anniversary of Pokemon, we have a collection set that they're going to be selling, and a couple other things. So I want to take advantage of that tomorrow and hit up a couple of places. I'm probably going to go either to 4 or 5 places just to see who has what and check out the prices and stuff. And I hope Walmart has a stock for tomorrow. I hope they're stocked for tomorrow. I'm going to go there early, so I hope that they pull out some stuff. And other than that, I'll be back on here tomorrow. So have a good morning, afternoon, and a good night. And I'll catch you all on the flip side. And like I just said, I'll be back on here tomorrow. And I'm definitely going to be taking the weekend off. This weekend, I am taking it off because it is the Royal Rumble weekend. Unless we have breaking news. The only way I will come back on here if something really, really, really bad happens and if a war breaks out with Iran. If we decide, because we can't just provoke and attack, it has to be done a certain way, and Congress is looking too. And I know this is gonna be the next headache. Like I'm already yawning, stretching. I went to the chiropractor today, so that's why I'm super tired. But all right, guys, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.